Chapter 5777 Bugs Charge. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor subconsciously looked at its left front claw, and then heard Yun Chujia's clear laughter. "You idiot, I was lying to you. Seems that I was right. You are a weak little grasshopper. You want to fight with me? You are still young." The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor. Humans were indeed cunning, humans were indeed shameless. They even lied to a grasshopper, bah, even a corpse turtle. "Darn girl, I don't understand what you're talking about. If you guys don't come out and throw your lives away, I won't be polite." Updated on B0X and Zeroville. Calm. Yun Chujio spread her hands. "Whatever." The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was so angry that it spat out black gas and howled. However, it didn't take another step forward. Seeing this, everyone immediately believed Yun Chujia's words. It seemed that this 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug really didn't dare to approach the cave. Jiang Shuangli thickened his skin and asked, "Yan Qingqing, how did you guess this?" Yun Chujio glanced at him. Seeing that Jiang Shuangli didn't agree to send her to her death, she explained, "If it really didn't have any scruples, it would have rushed over long ago. Why would it waste time talking to us?" Moreover, this cave could be said to be a very good nesting place. However, this place was clean and didn't have any traces of demonic insects. Obviously, there was something fishy about it. Of course, these are all just guesses. Fortunately, that grasshopper is stupid enough to confess without even fighting. Hearing Yun Chujia's words, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect became even more furious. It roared, "Damn girl. So what if you've guessed it? Just you wait." When the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect said this, it began to emit a strange sound. Soon, countless demonic insects gathered. Those demonic insects all prostrated on the ground, looking extremely terrified. When everyone saw the endless number of demonic insects, they felt their scalps go numb. Even if reinforcements arrived, they probably wouldn't be able to do anything to such a large number of demonic insects. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug spat out a mouthful of black gas. Immediately, countless demonic insects were swallowed into its stomach. As those demonic insects were swallowed into its stomach, the eye-shaped mark on its forehead became more and more vivid. Yun Chujio and the others immediately guessed its plan. It was planning to swallow these demonic insects to forcefully increase its strength. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and shouted, "You stupid insects, are you just waiting for death? Go on. Kill it. As long as you eat its meat, you will be able to rise to great heights. There are so many of you, are you afraid of a little grasshopper? If you don't resist, your whole clan will be exterminated." If you think about it carefully, it is not a member of the insect clan at all. Where does it get the face to be the overlord of the insect clan? If you still have the face, just resist and eat it. If you are dead, so be it. But what about your tiny insects? What about your tiny eggs? Are you willing to give up your descendants? No more explosions and silence, just extermination and silence. Insects charge. The demonic insects were either convinced by He Xinjia's words or triggered by the shadow of death. They started to resist and lunged at the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insects. All of a sudden, the roars of the insects could be heard everywhere. Countless demonic insects were killed by the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insects. However, there were still countless demonic insects coming one after another. It was a very tragic scene. Yun Chujio sighed. TSK, the other insects are all so brave, but some people clearly had a great opportunity before, but they gave it up because of fear. Chapter 5778. Battle Royale. The faces of Vice Director Xiaofu and the others alternated between green and white. Naturally, they knew that Yun Chujio was referring to the mulberry tree and cursing the locust tree. Xiao Lianxiao snorted coldly. "If we listened to you, we might have already died. Isn't it good now? As long as we don't leave the cave, we can keep our lives." Yun Chujio glanced at her. "Good? If it weren't for your cowardice and indecision, this 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect wouldn't have the chance to evolve into an emperor insect. It's lucky that it's afraid, or none of us would have survived. Instead of pinning our hopes on others, it's better to grasp fate in your own hands." Update on Biomicron X 0VL. Xiaomicron M. Xiao Lianqiu's face flushed red from He Xinjia's rebuke. She was angry and resentful. She gritted her teeth in her heart. "Bitch, Pila let you gloat for a while. I'll get even with you in the future." At this time, the battle on the shore became more and more intense. Some demon beasts even joined in. Although the bloodthirsty insect valley had many demon insects, there were still many demon beasts living there. The thought of these demon beasts was very simple. If they didn't kill this 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug, their demon beasts would definitely suffer too. Since that was the case, they would attack first and temporarily join forces with the insect clan to kill this 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug. Yun Chuzhou looked at Director Xiaofu. Director Xiaofu, let's join the battle too. If the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug gains the upper hand, we won't be able to survive either. Director Xiaofu didn't hesitate this time, because he knew that Yun Chuzhou was right. If the 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor bug had the upper hand and swallowed those demonic insects and beasts, its strength would definitely increase greatly. It might even be able to cross the pond. He immediately said, okay, well, join the battle. You guys be careful. After Director Xiaofu finished speaking, he took the lead to leave the cave. Although Xiao Lianxiao and the others were unwilling, they followed him out. Yun Chuzhou followed behind beaming like a little quail that was afraid of death. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug saw Director Xiaofu and the others, especially He Xingjiu. It roared in anger and abandoned the rest of the demonic beasts and insects to pounce on them. He Xingjiu jumped into the pond and beckoned at the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug. Little grasshopper, come and chase me. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was so angry that it immediately jumped into the pond and spat out a mouthful of black gas at Yun Chuzhou. However, He Xingjiu had already dived into the pond. The black gas spat out by the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug only stirred up a few waves on the surface of the water. Yun Chuzhou poked her head out from the other end of the pond and jumped into the cave. She gave the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug a thumbs up and said, "You little grasshopper. Come here if you dare." The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle roared in anger, but it did not dare to take even half a step forward. Moreover, beaming and the others had already attacked, so it had no choice but to crawl back to the shore and continue fighting. He Xingjiu stood in the cave with her hands on her hips and cursed, "Little grasshopper, I heard that you crawled out from a corpse. Then aren't you the child of us humans? But you have the appearance of a zerg, so that means that you are a bastard. TSK, you say that you are neither human nor insect. What is the point of living? Also, you swallowed the corpse of your companion to become like this. You are simply heartless. How can you still have the face to live in this world? Just kill yourself to atone for your sins." Little grasshopper, to be honest, I've never seen such an ugly bug like you. If the Zerg had an ugly contest, you would definitely be the champion. The end of chapter 5779. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was frustrated by Yun Chuzhou's scolding, and it would even retort angrily from time to time. This was a battlefield, how could it be distracted? It had unknowingly fallen into a disadvantageous position. At this time, the reinforcements led by President Gu had arrived. Although President Gu and the others were very surprised at the situation of besieging the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug, now was not the time to ask, and they immediately joined the battle. Although the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was powerful, its cultivation was obviously not stable. Being besieged by so many demonic insects, demonic beasts and humans, it could not hold on much longer. In the end, its huge body collapsed on the ground, turning into a pool of black water that seeped into the ground. Update on Omicron X0VL. Omicron M. Seeing that the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was dead, the demonic insects and demonic beasts immediately scattered. President Gu and the others then asked Vice President Xiao what happened. Vice President Xiao naturally would not tell the truth. He simply told them the process, but hid some things that were not beneficial to him. Unfortunately, he forgot one thing. He Xingjiu was not a mute. He Xingjiu immediately sobbed, "Director, you didn't know. Vice-Chancellor Xiao wanted to throw me out to feed the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug. If I wasn't smart, you wouldn't have seen me." Although He Xingjiu was sobbing, she did not delay in telling them what had happened. "Director, you have to make a decision for me. Although I'm useless, I'm still the only student in the primeval institution. Is he worthy of the ancestors of the primeval institution by treating me like this? Is he worthy of his status as the Vice-Chancellor?" He Xingjiu said indignantly. Director Xiaofu felt everyone's eyes on him and defended himself. "Director, what Yan Qingqing said is not entirely true. I was also thinking of the bigger picture. Sacrificing Yan Qingqing alone can save the other 6 students. I had no choice." Xiao Lianxiao and the other 2 people chimed in, "Yes, Director." Director Xiaofu was also forced to do so. He did not deliberately target Yan Qingqing. The people present were not fools. They could naturally tell who was telling the truth and who was lying. They looked at Director Xiaofu with disapproval. Director Xiaofu knew that he was in the wrong. Although he tried his best to remain calm, he wished that he could find a hole to hide in. He hated Yun Chuzhou even more. At this time Xiao Lianxiao said, "Director Yan Qingqing extorted a lot of spirit stones from us. Please ask her to return them to us." Xiao Lianxiao immediately told them about Yun Chuzhi's extortion. President Gu and the others were dumbfounded. Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. "Xiao Lianxiao, I saved your lives. It's only right to give me some spirit stones. How did it turn into extortion? Are you still shameless?" Xiao Lianxiao was about to refute when President Gu said indifferently, "All right. This matter ends here. We can't stay here for long. We must leave this place immediately." Since such an important matter had happened in the bloodthirsty insect valley, they definitely had to inform the other forces before entering to investigate. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle insect was formed from the corpse chi of the 1,000-year-old corpse. Who knows what kind of ruins there might be in the bloodthirsty insect valley? Only by gathering all the forces could they investigate. When everyone heard President Gus's words, they naturally didn't dare to say anything else. They followed President Gu as they headed towards the entrance of the valley. No one noticed that a faint black gas had entered Vice President Xiao's body. A cold glint flashed across Vice President Xiao's eyes before disappearing in an instant. "Go to the hospital for an examination during the day and update it at night. It should be around 9 p.m. Chapter 57. 80 Hearts. I was not as big as a needle's nose at this time. Director Ziaph's footsteps stopped, and a trace of confusion flashed through his eyes. "Second uncle, what's wrong?" Xiao Lianxiao asked with concern. Director Xiaofu shook his head. "Nothing, I was a little distracted just now, maybe a little tired." Hearing this, Xiao Lianxiao was finally relieved, but when she saw Yan Qingqing jumping up and down on Bai Ye's arm not far away, her expression immediately turned ugly. She originally thought that she could use this bloodthirsty insect valley trial to kill Yan Qingqing and then have a good relationship with Beiyu. But now, not only did she fail to achieve her goal, she even extorted a lot of spirit stones from him. The most hateful thing was that after this incident, President Gu and the others were quite dissatisfied with Vice President Xiao. When they returned, they would definitely be punished. It was really a case of trying to steal a chicken, only to end up eating rice instead. However, it didn't matter. There was still a long way to go. One day she would make that bitch Yan Qingqing pay the price. Everyone left the bloodthirsty insect valley and boarded a flying spiritual device to return to the 10 Directions Academy. After the 1,000-year-old incident with the corpse turtle emperor bug, Yun Chuzhou had a good impression of Nangong Shi. Therefore she found an opportunity to return his spiritual stones to him. Nangong Shi obviously didn't expect that Yun Chuzhou, this money grubber, would return the money to him. In his surprise he spoke a little more than usual. Yun Chuzhou discovered that although Nangong Shi was usually quiet, he was very knowledgeable. The two of them chatted happily. A certain someone looked at the two of them who were chatting and laughing, and couldn't help but emit a cold aura. His ice-cold gaze landed on Nangong Shi. Nangong Shi felt a chill on his back. He turned his head around but he didn't find anything unusual. He shook his head. It was probably because he had been too nervous recently that he was hallucinating. He sighed in his heart. It seemed that the rumors were indeed not to be believed. Everyone said that Yan Qingqing was a waste and that she had spent money to buy a flag to get into the upper house. However, after this incident he completely changed his view. Although she was a little sneaky and cunning, she was brave and resourceful. If it were not for her, they might have already been swallowed by the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug. Moreover, he found Yan Qingqing's conversation interesting. It was not boring at all, so he was willing to talk more. However, when he chatted with Yun Chuzhou again, the hair-raising feeling on his back came back. He couldn't help but feel a little scared. "Nangong Shi, I heard that your cultivation is not bad. Let's spar when we return to the academy." Nangong Shi. Why did he have a premonition that he was going to be tortured? He seemed to have offended someone he should not have offended. However, how did he offend this Beiyu? Why did he look at him with such an unkind gaze? He Xingjiu looked at the dead fish eyes of a certain respected man and immediately understood that the jealous man was jealous. This guy could not help but roll his eyes. She was not jealous even when those coquettish bitches surrounded him. She had only said a few words to Nangong Shi, and the gigolo was already jealous? His narrow-mindedness wasn't even as big as a needle's nose. That morning, everyone returned to the upper house's waterside pavilion. He Xingjiu held Di Biming's arm and laughed hysterically. "Brother Beiyu, let's go. We'll go to your courtyard to discuss the cultivation method." Everyone. Why did it feel like a little ruffian teasing a good woman? Discussing cultivation methods? Would you believe it yourself? Xiao Lianxiao gritted her teeth in anger. but there was nothing she could do. She said to Vice Director Xiaofu, "Second uncle, I have something to tell you. Let me go to your courtyard." Chapter 5781 Are you looking for me? Director Ziafa's face was abnormally pale. He said, "I'm not feeling well. Come and see me another day." Xiao Lianxiao said worriedly, "Second uncle, you don't look too well on the way here. Get someone to take a good look at you later." Director Xiaofu nodded and left in a hurry. Director Xiaofu returned to his courtyard and immediately sat down cross-legged to meditate. He felt that there was something wrong with his body because he had been in a daze recently. It was as if his body and consciousness were not under his control for a few moments. However, on the way back he did not find anything unusual while meditating. What was going on? Director Xiaofu did not find anything unusual this time. However, when he saw his pale face in the mirror, a shadow immediately appeared in his heart. At this moment, a familiar and strange voice appeared in his mind. "Stupid human, are you looking for me?" Director Ziafa's face immediately revealed a terrified expression. He broke out in cold sweat and said with a trembling voice, "1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect? Where are you?" "TSK, you are indeed extremely stupid. Of course I am inside your body." Vice Director Xiaofu slumped on the ground. He hurriedly began to inspect his body, but he still did not discover anything. "Don't waste your energy. I have already merged into your body. Unless I leave voluntarily, you won't be able to get rid of me." The 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor bug said proudly. It was the 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor bug. How could it die so easily? At that time, it saw that the situation was not right, so it came out of its shell like a cicada. Although its shell had completely disappeared, its primordial spirit had turned into corpse chi and entered Director Ziafa's body. Director Xiaofu was both shocked and afraid. The 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor bug was in his body. How could he survive? Director Xiaofu forced himself to calm down. Since the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug didn't take his life, perhaps it had other motives. 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug, what do you want me to do? Director Xiaofu said with a hint of humility. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug obviously enjoyed this feeling very much. It said, "You know your place. Don't worry. I only like corpses and have no interest in you. You only need to help me with one thing, and I will naturally leave your body." Only then did Deputy Director Xiaofu feel slightly relieved. "What do you need me to help you with? Just say it. As long as I can do it, I will do my best." That stinky girl took something from the pool. You think of a way to trick that thing into destroying it? The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect gnashed its teeth. "When did she take it? How come I don't know?" Director Xiaofu asked in confusion. "You idiot, of course you don't know anything. During the chaotic battle, I once forced her to dive into the water. After that, I felt that the thing in the pool had disappeared, so she must have stolen it. If it wasn't for that thing, I would have eaten all of you long ago. If it wasn't for that thing, I would have possessed her long ago." The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug said through gritted teeth. Director Xiaofu immediately shifted his fear and anger onto Yun Chujio. Great, they were in a bloody battle, and that Yan Qingqing actually took this opportunity to take away the treasure in the pool. She really deserved to die. However, what kind of treasure was it? Chapter 5782 Fixed Corpse Pearl. "My lord, what treasure did she take from the bottom of the pond?" Director Xiaofu asked. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect snapped. "Why are you asking? You'll know when the time comes." Director Xiaofu. If he didn't know what it was, how could he trick it? However, he could also see that this 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect was very arrogant and didn't like others to question it. It was better for him not to provoke its bad luck. As for that thing, he could force Yan Qingqing to hand it over. If it really did not work, he could just find an opportunity to kill her and search her storage ring. At the same time, He Xingjiu was showing off in front of a certain god. "Prince Charming, I told you that I was going to be rich. This fortune could not be blocked even if it came. I just casually dived into the pool and found such a good thing." He Xingjiu was holding a crystal-clear pearl that was reflecting brilliant brilliance. "At that time, I thought that it was a small stone, and I put it into my storage ring on the principle that a thief should never leave empty-handed. I didn't expect that it would be such a good treasure. Prince Charming, what kind of pearl do you think it is? Could it be that the dead grasshopper didn't dare to approach the cave because of this pearl?" Di Biming took the bead and looked at it. He said in a low voice, "In my memory, there is a kind of bead that is similar to it, but I'm not sure whether it is the bead or not." "What kind of bead?" He Xingjiu asked curiously. The corpse stabilizing bead. Hei Shinjio blinked her eyes and asked, "What is the corpse stabilizing bead?" It is said that after a person takes the corpse stabilizing bead, it can prevent the corpse from giving birth to a 1,000-year-old corpse turtle. Moreover, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle is very afraid of the corpse stabilizing bead. However, rumor has it that the corpse stabilizing pearl is very rare, to the point that it doesn't even exist. It seems that the people buried in the bloodthirsty insect valley have extraordinary statuses. I just don't know why the corpse stabilizing pearl that was supposed to be on its corpse would end up in the pool. Who cares how it ended up in the pool? It belongs to me now. TSK, this thing can drive away insects. In the future, I won't be afraid of being bitten by mosquitoes. Moreover, stealing honey will be much easier. A certain someone? You're wasting a god's gift, do you know that? The two of them flirted with each other for a while. Then, a certain someone said with a serious face, "You've changed your identity. Therefore, other than Ding Wenru, don't get too close to others to avoid exposing your identity. Do you understand?" Prince Charming, you're actually trying to say that I shouldn't get too close to Nangongshi, right? A certain someone's face immediately darkened. How can I be such a narrow-minded person? I'm doing this for your own good. Don't make wild guesses. Hei Shinjio pursed her lips in her heart. You stubborn Sundara. However, she still followed her advice and said, "Since you are so considerate of me, please be careful not to get too close to others in the future." A certain person suddenly felt a lot better. Then he thought that his wife was not interested in refining weapons and would not attend the branch of the refining division. He probably did not have much contact with Nangongshi, so he immediately felt relieved. The two chatted for a while more, and a certain person suggested sending Hei Shinjio back to the dormitory. Naturally, Hei Shinjio was more than happy to do so. This guy threw dog food all the way and arrived at the dormitory under everyone's envious and jealous eyes. Yin Qingqing, you're finally back. I have some ideas about your previous question about the failure of the sword intent. Why don't we discuss it? Nangongshi said impatiently. Chapter 5783, Jealousy really? I haven't found the reason yet. Tell me quickly. Hei Shinjio let go of Di Biming's arm and said excitedly. Why don't you and I go to the refining institution? That way we can test it in the refining furnace. I'm afraid it won't be very effective, Nangongshi suggested. Hei Shinjio nodded excitedly. Alright, let's go over and take a look. Immediately, Hei Shinjio followed Nangongshi and quickly walked away. As they walked, they discussed some methods to forge swords. They were very lively. A certain someone who had been forgotten on the spot had a cold aura that was almost tangible. What happened to maintaining a distance? What happened to not getting too close to others? Also, should he just leave him here? At this moment, Hei Shinjio turned around and waved at a certain someone. Brother Beiyu, I almost forgot to say goodbye to you. You should go back first. I'll look for you when I'm free. The certain someone felt even more jealous. What did she mean by looking for him when she was free? Could it be that she had the time to flirt with Nangongshi, but didn't have the time to talk to him? Originally, there were quite a few female students who wanted to curry favor with him, but when they saw the cold expression on a certain someone's face, they immediately didn't dare to approach him. A certain someone had the intention to chase after Yun Chujio and drag her back, but he felt that this was a little embarrassing, so his gaze fell on Ding Wenru, who had been pretending to be a quail. I heard from Qingqing that you have a lot of experience in refining artifacts. Why don't you go and discuss it with her? Ding Wenru. Was he asking her to play the role of breaking up the lovebirds? Bah. Qingqing and Nangongshi were not lovebirds. She and Beiyu were a couple. This Beiyu was too jealous. However, it could be seen from this that he was really loyal to Qingqing. Qingqing was really a good method. Seeing that Ding Wenru did not say anything, a certain someone frowned. You're not going? Ding Wenru immediately trembled. Go. I'll go. Beiyu, don't worry. I know what to do. I guarantee that Nangongshi and Qingqing won't even be able to say 3 words. Di Biming was very satisfied with Ding Wenru's tactfulness. He nodded slightly and turned around to leave. Ding Wenru, on the other hand, eagerly chased after Yun Chujio and Nangongshi. There was nothing she could do. In order to firmly cling onto her thighs, she had to pay the labor that needed to be done. When she rushed to the refining institution, Yun Chujio and Nangongshi were discussing the matter of infusing sword intent. Ding Wenru forcefully separated Yun Chujio and Nangongshi, and then began to talk about her own thoughts. Nangong asked, did this Ding Wenru know what courtesy was? However, he had always been quiet. Even if he was displeased, he didn't say it out loud. He just kept his mouth shut and allowed Ding Wenru to continue blabbering. He Xingjiu looked at Ding Wenru, who was much more active than usual. He couldn't help but feel puzzled. Could it be that Ding Wenru had taken a liking to Nangongshi? Was that why she wanted to express herself? That's right. Ding Wenru was interested in refining artifacts and had even specially attended the refining faculty's classes. Nangongshi was also an outstanding figure in the refining faculty, so it was normal for her to have a good impression of him. Since Ding Wenru liked Nangongshi, she would have to matchmake the two of them in the future and create some opportunities for them. However, in order to avoid awkwardness, she couldn't let the two of them be alone for the time being. When the time was right, she would retire successfully. Therefore, in the next few days, a certain someone discovered that He Xingjiu and Nangongshi interacted more frequently. Chapter 5784 was not available. A certain venerable was very angry and decided to ignore Yun Chujio for a few days to let her know what it meant to be a husband. Thus, for a few days, a certain venerable did not come to see He Xingjiu again, nor did he send her a voice transmission talisman. He originally thought that in this way He Xingjiu would eagerly look for him, and then he would teach her a good lesson. However, He Xingjiu did not look for him at all. He Xingjiu had been extremely busy these days. Not only did she want to matchmake Nangongshi and Ding Wenru, but she also had to go to the Alchemy Division, Talisman Seal Division, and Beastmaster Division to freeload classes. If she had nothing to do, she had to go to President Gus' place to brush up on her good impression. How could she still have time to care about a certain Sundara? On this day, He Xingjiu had just finished freeloading classes in the Alchemy Division when Xiao Lianxiao said with a cold face, "Yin Qingqing, my second uncle is looking for you for something. Come with me for a moment." Yun Chujio curled her lips. "Am not free." Xiao Lianxiao wanted to flare up, but when she thought of Deputy Director Xaiaphus' instructions, she suppressed her anger and said, "My second uncle is looking for you because of the bloodthirsty insect valley. There was some misunderstanding at that time, so my second uncle wants to have a good chat with you to clear up the misunderstanding." He Xingjiu's black eyes rolled around. Want to have a good chat with her? It's either evil or evil to be so solicitous for no reason. That Deputy Director Xiaofu wished he could strangle her to death. If he asked her to go, it definitely wouldn't be a good thing. Therefore she said with a smile, "Aya, there's no need to chat." I know that Deputy Director Xiaofu was considering the overall situation at that time. I don't blame him. I still have things to do. I'll see you later. After saying that, Yun Chujio directly skipped away. Xiao Lianxiao was so angry that her face turned red. She had already been so humble, but this Yin Qingqing still dared to take advantage of Xiao Lianxiao. It was really detestable. When she thought of Director Xaiaphus' instructions, she couldn't help but have a headache. She didn't know why, but she felt that after returning from the bloodthirsty insect valley, Director Xaiaphus' attitude towards her was no longer as friendly as before. Moreover, she felt that his face had always been somewhat pale. In the end, Xiao Lianxiao still went to Director Xaiaphus' courtyard and told him everything. Director Xiaofu waved his hand unhappily. "Alright, I understand. You can go back. Second uncle, I see that your complexion is still not very good. Why don't I go away?" Vice Director Xiaofu yelled somewhat anxiously. Xiao Lianqiu's face was full of confusion from being yelled at. She felt very wronged in her heart. "Second uncle, you've always doted on me the most. Why now?" Director Xiaofu couldn't bear it anymore and comforted her. "I'm not in a good mood recently. You should go back first and cultivate well." Xiao Lianxiao heard this and could only leave sullenly. TSK, what should I say about you? You can't even fool that little girl. You're even dumber than our bug clan's dung beetle." The 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor insect said disdainfully. Director Xiaofu was angry and resentful, but he didn't dare to offend the 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor insect. After all, it was in his body now, so it was easy to take his life. "Sir, that Yin Qingqing is very crafty, but she's not a student of our spirit energy department, so I can't forcefully summon her. However, don't worry, he'll find an opportunity as soon as possible to destroy the thing she got from the pond." Alright. I don't expect you to be a good-for-nothing anymore," the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug said impatiently. Before Deputy Director Xiaofu could understand the meaning of the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug's words, he had already lost consciousness. Deputy Director Xiaofu's eyes flashed with a cold light. He stretched his limbs and revealed a strange smile on the corner of his mouth. Chapter 5785 The Grasshopper Update on Biomicron X0ville. Xiomicron MTSK. Although the human body is a little weak, it is much more flexible than the insect race's body. It is a pity that those who are invaded by corpse energy won't live for long. Otherwise they can use this body to enjoy themselves, Director Xiophas 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect said to itself. This idiot actually has no way of bringing that stinky girl over. I can only go and look for her myself. It's just a stinky girl. Even if I use this body I can still easily kill her. The 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect swaggered out of the courtyard. Along the way it met quite a few lecturers and students who greeted it. In order to prevent it from giving itself away, it only nodded indifferently. It let a student from the spirit faculty lead the way and arrived at the door of Yun Chujia's dormitory. In order to curry favor with Director Xiaofu, the student from the spirit faculty took the initiative to call for the door. Yan Qingqing, Director Xiaofu is here. Why aren't you coming out to welcome him? He Xinjiu had just arrived at the dormitory and was preparing to have dinner with Ding Wenru and Ding Wenru. Ding Wenru frowned. Qingqing, why is Director Xiaofu here? Is he looking for trouble? Yun Chujiu sneered in her heart. She wanted to see what Director Xiaofu was up. She immediately opened the gate and said to Director Xiaofu, who was standing outside, Director Xiaofu. Director Xiaofu, are you looking for me? The 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug wished that it could kill the little girl in front of it. However, in order not to cause any trouble, it imitated Director Xiophas' usual manner and said, previously in the bloodthirsty insect valley, there was some misunderstanding between us. Although I am a teacher, I should still properly communicate with you. As the 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug spoke, he walked past Yun Chujiu and entered the courtyard. Yun Chujiu's eyes flashed. She closed the courtyard door and turned around to enter the courtyard as well. The 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug saw Ding Wenru, who was in the courtyard, and frowned. Yan Qingqing and I have something to discuss. You should leave for a while. Ding Wenru did not say anything but looked at Yun Chujiu. She saw Yun Chujiu nod and left the courtyard. However, she did not walk far and sat at the entrance of the courtyard. This way, if there was any movement inside, she could enter in time. The 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug originally wanted to make a move directly, but after thinking for a while, it decided that it was not too late to make a move after making sure that the treasure was. Therefore, it sat on the stone chair in the courtyard and said, Yan Qingqing, when I was in the bloodthirsty insect valley, I did it for the sake of the overall situation. I didn't mean to harm you. Yun Chujiu said with a faint smile. Oh? Deputy Director Xiaofu, do you believe what you said? The 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug choked and laughed dryly. It's a misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. We have also experienced life and death here, so we should put aside our past grudges. Oh right, you're still young, so don't take things lightly. Did you pick up anything in the pond or cave? If you did, you must tell the truth to avoid danger. When the 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect said this, its eyes were fixed on Yun Chujiu, not missing the slightest change in her expression. Yun Chujiu's face was full of confusion and confusion. Pick up something? Where did you say that? We were forced to the point of losing our lives by that dead grasshopper, so where am I going to pick up anything? When Yun Chujiu said this, her eyes suddenly lit up. Vice Director Xiaofu, listening to your words, could it be that you picked up something? Is that why you suspect that I picked up something? Alright. You actually dared to take advantage of your own pocket. I want to report you to President Gu. However, if you give me some hush money, he'll pretend that I don't know anything. 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug. Chapter 5786, Fat Meat to the Mouth update on Biomicron X Zeroville. Xiomicron M. The 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was dumbfounded. Why didn't this brat play by the rules? The 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug endured it and said, I was just asking casually. I was afraid that you would pick up something bad at such a young age. Since you don't have it, then forget it. Yun Chujiu blinked her eyes and said, but I think Vice President Xiao, you really picked up something good. Even if you didn't pick it up, it's better to explain it to President Gu. Let's go and see President Gu now. The 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor was so angry that it wanted to slap Yun Chujiu to death. However, it was not sure if the corpse pearl was with Yun Chujiu. If it acted rashly, it was afraid that it would alert the enemy. It thought about it again. Anyway, the spiritual stones in the storage ring were not its, so it was okay to give it to this stupid girl. It was also a good opportunity to inquire about it. Therefore, the 1000-year-old corpse turtle emperor transferred all the spiritual stones that Vice President Xiao had accumulated for many years to He Xinjiu. Previously, when He Xinjiu was blackmailing him in the bloodthirsty insect valley, although Director Xiaofu had also handed over some spirit stones, it was only a small portion of his entire wealth. However, She did not expect that the 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor insect had transferred all the spirit stones to Hei Shinjio. Hei Shinjio was so frightened that she almost jumped up when she saw the extra spirit stones in her storage ring. She just wanted to get some pocket money. She did not expect that Director Xiaofu would transfer so many spirit stones to her. Was his brain cramping? However, with the thought of not taking advantage of the bastard, Hei Shinjio naturally wouldn't spit out the fat meat that was in her mouth. However, the smile on this guy's face immediately became more sincere. Director Xiaofu, you are really an honest person. Since you are so sincere, I will pretend that I don't know anything. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug saw Yun Chujia's beaming face and despised her in its heart. This bastard was too greedy. However, this was also good. It was convenient for it to continue to investigate the news. Therefore, it sighed and said sincerely, Yen Qingqing, I did this to resolve our previous misunderstanding. Did you really not pick up anything? Yun Chujia's heart moved. Could it be that Vice Director Xiaofu already knew about the existence of the corpse stabilizing pearl, so he used words to probe? But how did he know? She thought again. A few days ago, the 10 Directions Academy and other forces had explored the bloodthirsty insect Valley Toget. Perhaps they had found the clues to the corpse stabilizing pearl, which was why Director Xiaofu asked this question. Several thoughts flashed through his mind, but his face was still in a daze. Director Xiaofu, I really didn't pick up anything. Also, let me give you a piece of advice. If you pick up something, you can secretly smile. Don't ask this or that. Are you afraid that others won't know that you picked up something good? The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was so angry that he gritted his teeth. However, he was even more uncertain in his heart. Could it be that the corpse stabilizing pearl was really not in this stinky girl's hands? However, at that time, only this stinky girl had the opportunity to obtain the corpse stabilizing pearl. Was she speaking the truth or was she lying? Yun Chujio looked at the sky and said, Vice Director Xiaofu, it's getting late. It's time for me to eat dinner. Shouldn't you go back? How could the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect be willing to leave just like that? It laughed dryly and said, I'm also a little hungry. Can we eat some together? Yun Chujio simply couldn't believe that Vice Director Xiaofu had such thick skin. However, for the sake of the large sum of spirit stones just now, it was rare for him to be generous. She said, all right, since Vice Director Xiaofu doesn't mind, then let's eat together. Chapter 5787, Where was its face? Seeing that Yun Chujio had agreed, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect was secretly delighted. It only needed to inject the corpse poison into the food later, and it could make this crafty little girl in front of it live a life worse than death. At that time, it didn't believe that she wouldn't tell the truth. If the corpse stabilizing pearl was really with her, it would return her body to Director Xiaofu and destroy the corpse stabilizing pearl. This way it would no longer have any worries, and it could lead the Bug clan to unify the Divine Enlightenment continent in the future. The more it thought about the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug, the more beautiful it became. If it didn't have the last bit of rationality left, it would have danced with joy. At this moment, Yun Chujio took out 6 dishes from her storage ring and placed them on the stone table. This fellow was very stingy. The dishes he took out were all very ordinary dishes. Thinking of the large amount of spirit stones that Director Xiaofu had just contributed, he took out a plate of glutinous rice dumplings with a pained expression and said with a smile, Director Xiaofu, I see that your face is a little pale. Could it be that you were poisoned during the battle? I heard that this thing is very effective in removing the corpse poison. More. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug suddenly stood up and jumped several feet away. Fortunately, the courtyard was large enough or else it would have crashed into the door. Hei Shinjio was shocked and looked at the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug suspiciously. Director Xiaofu, what do you mean by this? Hearing Yun Chujia's words, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug secretly heaved a sigh of relief. It thought that this brat had seen through something, but it turned out that she was just spouting nonsense. However, it was formed from corpse chi. It really did not have a good impression of things like glutinous rice, dog blood, and black donkey hooves, not to mention eating them. Well, I remembered that I still have something urgent, so I won't be eating at your place. I'll look for you another day. After saying that, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect left in a hurry. Hei Shinjio had a baffled look on her face. Why was this Deputy Director Xiaofu acting so strangely? Could it be that he was overstimulated? Otherwise, why would he give her so many spiritual stones? After returning to Director Xaifa's courtyard, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug returned its body to Director Xiaofu. Director Xiaofu didn't know what had happened, so he asked tentatively, "Sir, what did you do with my identity just now?" The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug said unhappily, "What can I do? I just went to see that stinky girl." Director Xiaofu grumbled, "That Yan Qingqing is very treacherous. Why are you in a hurry to see her? What if you alert her? Do I need your permission to do anything? Are you tired of living?" The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect threatened. Director Xiaofu immediately said humbly, "Sir, that's not what I meant. It's just that damn girl is full of tricks. I'm afraid that you'll be tricked by her. I wonder if you've gained anything from seeing her?" The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect snorted coldly, "I'm not sure if that thing is on her body now. I still need to find another opportunity to test it out." "Not sure? Didn't you say before that if Yan Qingqing didn't have that treasure, you would have possessed her body? Why are you not sure now?" Deputy Director Xiaofu said in confusion. "I'm just guessing." "What? You don't need to talk so much nonsense. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. I need to rest for a while. Don't disturb me." The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug said angrily. At that time, it guessed that the corpse pearl was on Yun Chujia's body. It was afraid that it would be hurt by the corpse pearl if it possessed her body recklessly. For safety reasons, it chose Director Xiaofu. Of course, it wouldn't say these words out loud. Otherwise, where would it put its face? Chapter 5788 1 a.m. Doing this for your own good. Director Xiaofu was afraid and angry, but there was nothing he could do. He didn't dare to let others know that he had been possessed by the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug. On one hand, he was afraid that the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug would take his life. On the other hand, if others knew about this, his future would be completely ruined. After all, some things were better said than done. Others would say why the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug didn't choose others but chose to possess him? There would definitely be a lot of bad guesses. Director Xiaofu vented all his resentment on Yun Chujio. In his opinion, if Yun Chujio had obediently gone out to die, there would not have been any other matters. He would not have been possessed by the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect. This could not go on. He had to think of a way to get rid of the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect. However, how could he get rid of it? His every move could not be hidden from it. It would definitely not work if he wanted to force it. He had to think of a way to get rid of Yan Qingqing. If Yan Qingqing had that so-called treasure, he might be able to get rid of the 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor bug's control if he obtained that treasure. Even if Yan Qingqing did not have that treasure, based on the 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor bug's hatred towards Yan Qingqing, it might be able to possess Yan Qingqing. Therefore, he had to find an opportunity to trap Yan Qingqing and search her body. He had to hit the nail on the head. Otherwise, he would alert the enemy and it would be difficult for him to make a move again. Director Xiaofu pondered for a moment about his direct descendants. If he wanted them to do things, he should at least give them some benefits. Therefore, he sent his spiritual sense into his storage ring. He was checking the spiritual tools in the storage ring when his eyes suddenly widened in disbelief. Where were his spiritual stones? Why were they all gone? Director Xiaofu thought that he was hallucinating. He carefully used his spiritual sense to check more than 10 times, but he didn't see a single spirit stone. Director Xiaofu's head buzzed. Why were all his spirit stones gone? Where did his spirit stones go? This was all he had. Why were they all gone all of a sudden? He suddenly thought of a possibility. Could it be that the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was behind this? He immediately asked, "Sir, have you used the spirit stones in my storage?" The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug said unhappily, "It's just a mere spirit stone. Do I have to greet you?" Director Xiaofu was both angry and afraid. This 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug could actually use his storage ring. What did this mean? It meant that his body and spiritual sense had been controlled by it. If he was slightly careless, he would lose his life. He squeezed out a smile and said, "My spirit stone is your spirit stone. You can use it however you want, but I'm a little curious. My storage ring originally had more than 100 million high-grade spirit stones. What exactly did you use it for?" The 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor insect said lightly, "I didn't do anything. I gave it to that stinky girl." Director Xiaofu. He felt that he must have heard wrongly. Otherwise, how could he have heard such a shocking answer? What did he mean by giving it to that damn girl? Was this damned grasshopper sick? Didn't it hate Yan Qingqing the most? Why would it give her so many spirit stones? Director Xiaofu only felt his head buzzing. He supported himself with the table and sat on the chair, resisting the urge to vomit blood. "Sir, why did you give the spirit stones to Yen Qingqing?" The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect snapped. "She wanted to report to your so-called director that you found something in the bloodthirsty insect valley. She asked me for hush money, so I gave the spirit stones to her. I'm doing this for your own good. You don't have to thank me too much." Vice Director Xiaofu spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted with a choking sound. Chapter 5789. What did he do wrong? The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect disdainfully muttered. "What a stingy person. Isn't it just a little spiritual stone? What's the big deal? Humans are indeed greedy." Upon hearing its words, Director Xiaofu, who had just woken up, once again fainted from anger. Was that a little spiritual stone? That was more than 100 million spiritual stones. That was all his savings. On the other side, He Xinjiu was so happy to see the spiritual stones that she had easily extorted. Recently she was 80% sure that she had come to a good end. Previously she had picked up the fixed corpse pearl in the bloodthirsty insect valley, and now she had extorted so many spiritual stones so easily. It was simply wonderful. Seeing her beaming with joy, Ding Wenru asked curiously, "Qingqing, what does Director Xiaofu want to talk to you about? Why are you so happy?" He Xinjiu said with a smile, it's nothing. I guess he found his conscience and came to make peace." Ding Wenru was skeptical, but she changed the topic tactfully. "Qingqing, why hasn't Beiyu come to look for you recently?" He Xinjiu then realized that a certain someone had not made any movements for a few days. She took out a voice transmission talisman and asked, "Brother Beiyu, why haven't you come to see me these days?" A certain venerable, who had been tormenting himself, saw the voice transmission talisman tremble. The corners of his mouth curled up. Little Jiu could not hold it in any longer. This time he had to let her know what it meant to be a husband. He sent his spiritual sense into the voice transmission talisman. After hearing He Xinjiu's words, he said indifferently, "I'm busy." He Xinjiu blinked her eyes. She immediately understood that a certain venerable had done it on purpose. She curled her lips and put away the voice transmission talisman. "Weren't you busy? Then go ahead and get busy." The pitiful certain someone waited until midnight but didn't receive a reply from He Xinjiu. He was so angry that cold air was emitted from his body. A certain someone took out his identity jade token and sent a message to Nangong Shi. "See you tomorrow at the martial arts practice field." Nangong Shi, who was sleeping soundly, woke up with a start. He looked at the identity jade token in his hand with a dumbfounded expression. Was this Beiyu crazy? Was this the rhythm of an invitation to a fight? Also, you can ask for a fight, but why did you ask for a fight in the middle of the night? What did he do to offend this Beiyu? The next morning, Nangong Shi met Ding Wenru at the refining department. Although Nangong Shi felt that Ding Wenru was too reckless and acted rashly, after interacting with her for the past few days, he didn't feel as disgusted as before. Therefore, when he saw Ding Wenru, he still came over to greet her and called her to the side to probe. "Has Beiyu gone to look for Yen Qingqing recently? Is there anything wrong with him?" Ding Wenru's heart was immediately alarmed. Could it be that Nangong Shi still had an unyielding heart for Qingqing? Otherwise, why would he ask about Beiyu's whereabouts? Qingqing and Beiyu were a couple, and he had hinted at her a lot over the past few days, yet he still wanted to get involved in her matters. He was really shameless. Originally, Ding Wenru had a good impression of Nangong Shi, but now she felt a trace of disdain in her heart. Thus, she said somewhat unhappily, "What does it have to do with you whether Beiyu looks for Qingqing or not? What do you care?" After Ding Wenru finished speaking, she ignored Nangong Shi and turned around to leave, leaving Nangong Shi in the same spot. Nangong Shi was dumbfounded. Did this Ding Wenru take the wrong medicine today? She actually spoke to him in such a manner? Both of them were sick. When he thought about the fight in the evening, he felt extremely tired. What did he do wrong? Chapter 5790. One-sided breakup. Nangong Shi was somewhat apprehensive. Even though he was one of the top students in the armament division, he didn't know why he didn't have any confidence in front of Beiyu. What the hell? It wasn't easy for him to make it to the agreed time, so he braced himself and went to the martial arts practice field. However, he couldn't find Beiyu even after looking around the huge martial arts practice field. After waiting for another hour, he still couldn't find Beiyu. Nangong Shi could not help but wonder if Beiyu was sleepwalking last night? He did not know that a certain someone was already in trouble. How would he have the time to torture him? He Xinjiu originally wanted to ignore a certain someone, but that person had extorted more than 100 million spirit stones from Director Xiaofu yesterday. She could not help but want to show off. However, she could only show off in front of a certain someone. Therefore, after the lesson she went to a certain someone's dormitory. On the way she met a certain someone who was emitting cold air. Hey Zingius' eyes immediately lit up. Brother Bayu, do you want to visit me? Our minds are really connected. I was just about to look for you. A certain someone's face immediately turned cold, because he mistakenly thought that Yun Chujio ran over to plead for Nangong Shi. Otherwise, why did she run over when he was going to spar with Nangong Shi? A certain honored warrior's voice was slightly cold as he said, "What do you want from me?" Hey Shinjio thought that he was still quarreling with her, so she didn't care too much. She said with a smile, "Of course I have good things to tell you. Come, let's go to your dormitory." Hearing her words, a certain lord was even more certain that Yun Chujio wanted to stop him from going to the martial arts practice field. Otherwise, why would she be in such a hurry to let him go back to his dormitory? He avoided Yun Chujio's extended arm and said indifferently, "I still have things to do. You can go back first." Hey Shinjio was stunned, but she still said with a smile, "Brother Bayu, what is more important than me? Let's go to your dormitory." Hearing her words, Bayu was even more certain that she wanted to stop him from torturing Nangong Shi. His expression became even uglier, and he once again dodged Yun Chujio's extended arm. There were many admirers of Bayu nearby. When they saw this scene, they immediately looked at Hei Shinjio with schadenfreude. Diske, this Yen Qingqing had finally angered Bayu. There would be a good show to watch. As they said, Bayu would come to his senses sooner or later. Yen Qingqing was not worthy of him at all. If Bayu returned to being single, they were. This was really good news that everyone was celebrating. Just as everyone was gloating over Bayu's misfortune, they saw Yen Qingqing being stunned at first. Then she pointed at Bayu's nose and scolded him, "Did I give you some face? What kind of evil wind are you up to this time? How dare you throw your face at me? Have you grown capable?" The surrounding crowd widened their eyes in shock. This Yen Qingqing was really intrepid. She actually dared to point at Bayu's nose and scold him? Wasn't she afraid that Bayu would turn on her? Bayu's expression turned ugly as expected, and the coldness on his body intensified. However, he did not say anything. Everyone's gaze fell on Yen Qingqing again, only to see her eyes turn red, and tears rolled down her cheeks one by one. "Bayu, Yen Qingqing, am blind to have taken a fancy to you. I didn't expect you to be such an unreasonable bastard. If you have any complaints, just tell me directly, but you didn't say anything, yet you're doing this to me. You've really disappointed me. From today onwards, Yen Qingqing, will break up with you unilaterally. From now on, get as far away from me as possible. Don't bother me." Chapter 5791. Don't be too sad. Under everyone's stunned gazes, Hei Shinjio covered her face and ran away. Ding Wenru, who had just rushed over after hearing the news, immediately chased after her with a worried look on her face. Could it be that Qingqing had taken it too hard? Everyone looked at each other. This Yen Qingqing actually took the initiative to break up with Bayu? She even told him to get as far away from her as possible? Was she crazy? Wasn't Bayu just a little cold to her? She actually broke up with him? Wasn't she taking herself too seriously? She had no figure, no looks, no cultivation, no background, and yet she was still acting like a demon. She really overestimated herself. After what she had done, Bayu definitely wouldn't bother with her anymore. After all, Bayu's personality was arrogant, so how could he be bothered by her? Xiao Lianxiao, who was in the crowd, immediately felt happy. Her chance had come. This bitch Yen Qingqing really did not care about fortune. She actually pushed such a good man like Bayu out. Was she crazy? Xiao Lianxiao immediately walked in front of a certain someone with a cold expression and said gently, "Bayu, you don't have to be sad. A person like Yen Qingqing who doesn't know what's good for her is not worth you being sad for her. Why don't we?" Without waiting for her to finish speaking, a certain someone coldly spat out a word, "Scram." The certain someone didn't even glance at Xiao Lianxiao. After he finished speaking, he turned around and walked towards his own dormitory. Xiao Lianxiao was both angry and angry. She wished she could find a hole to hide in. At this moment she saw that Bayu had actually turned around and returned. Her heart immediately rejoiced. It seemed that Bayu had just vented his anger. Now that he had calmed down, he came to explain to her. Xiao Lianqiao's anger immediately turned into shyness. It seemed that Bayu had feelings for her. Otherwise he wouldn't have specially come back to explain himself. Seeing that Bayu was getting closer and closer to her, Xiao Lianqiao's expression became even more bashful. She said softly, Beiyu actually, am not angry with you. Xiao Liankio's words came to an abrupt stop. She watched helplessly as Beiyu didn't even look at her. Instead, he walked past her and directly walked over. Xiao Liankio's face immediately alternated between green and white, the hands under her sleeves tightly clenched together. Tao Yin'er walked over to Xiao Liankio's side and comforted her. Lianxiao, I reckon that Beiyu has been greatly angered by that Yan Qingqing. That's why he's like this. Don't take it to heart. Yan Qingqing is courting death herself. In the F. At this moment, someone in the crowd said, Eh? Isn't that road leading to the primal institution? Beiyu couldn't have gone to look for Yan Qingqing, that's right. I think Beiyu went to look for Yan Qingqing to settle the score. After all, he was humiliated by Yan Qingqing just now. It's impossible for him to let it go just like that. That's right. Even if it's a breakup, Beiyu should be the one who dumped Yan Qingqing. It's not Yan Qingqing's place to say those words. I reckon that Beiyu will definitely teach Yan Qingqing a lesson when he sees her. This is going to be a good show. Let's go and take a look. On the other side, Ding Wenru chased Yun Chujio all the way back to the primal institution. Qingqing, are you alright? I don't think it's that serious. Beiyu is probably just in a bad mood, don't be too sad. Don't be too sad. Both of you are in a fit of anger right now. I'll be fine once you calm down and clear up the misunderstanding. Ding Wenru's words came to an abrupt end because Hei Xinjiu took out a spirit fruit and started munching on it. She did not look sad at all. Chapter 5792. Seize the initiative. Qingqing, you're okay? Ding Wenru stared at Yun Chujio in disbelief. Yun Chujio took out a fruit and tossed it to Ding Wenru. She smiled and said, What could have happened to me? Ding Wenru took the fruit and said in a daze, You've already argued with Beiyu to the point of breaking up? How could you be okay? Oh my god, have you gone crazy from grief? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. You're the one who's crazy. That Sundara needs to be taught a lesson. If you don't believe me, I'll make a bet with you. In an hour at most, he'll obediently roll over to apologize. Ding Wenru felt that Hei Xinjiu had really gone crazy. Beiyu was so arrogant, how could he possibly come over to apologize? Qingqing, it's not that I want to criticize you, but you can still throw a tantrum. Why did you say it so harshly? What if Beiyu really breaks up with Hei Xinjiu? Curled her lips. Let me tell you, when these two people are in a relationship, either the east wind surpasses the west wind, or the west wind surpasses the east wind. You have to grasp the initiative. If I hadn't caused such a ruckus today, that Xiao by Beiyu would definitely have made things worse. Sister Ding, if you get along with anyone in the future, you have to remember this. If you hand over the initiative, you won't be able to get it back even if you regret it in the future. Ding Wenru was stunned by this guy's words. Oh my, no wonder Qingqing was able to take down Beiyu, she still had so many tricks up her sleeve. But, was this a clever trick or a dirty trick? Just as Ding Wenru was pondering, there was a knock on the door and Beiya's voice. Open the door. Hei Xinjiu hurriedly threw away the fruit core in her hand and messed up her hair a little. She squeezed out 2 more lines of crocodile tears and even deliberately rubbed her eyes red. Ding Wenru. She was full of admiration for Qingqing's talent in acting. However, was Beiyu here to apologize or settle the score? Ding Wenru saw Yun Chujio wink at her and turned around to open the courtyard door. There were already many students gathered outside, most of them girls. They were certain that Beiyu was here to settle the score with Yan Qingqing and that there would be no chance for them to reconcile in the future. Therefore, everyone's faces were filled with schadenfreude as they watched a good show. When the courtyard door opened, everyone saw Hei Xinjiu crying miserably. Everyone pursed their lips. This Yan Qingqing was probably regretting her decision now, but what was the use? Beiyu was definitely determined to break up with her this time. Ding Wenru originally wanted to explain things to Hei Xinjiu, but when she saw the cold expression on Beiyu's face, she did not dare to say anything and silently closed the courtyard door. She thought to herself, it seemed like Qingqing had really hit the jackpot this time. Beiyu was obviously very angry. How did he look like he was here to apologize? She hurriedly went to look at Yun Chujio, wanting to give her a look to make her admit defeat, but she heard Hei Xinjiu sobbing, Why are you still here? Just let me cry myself to death. Anyway, I'm a pitiful little girl that no one will feel sorry for. Ding Wenru secretly shook her head. Wasn't Qingqing adding fuel to the fire? Just as she was thinking about it, a certain someone turned around and looked at her. Ding Wenru's heart was filled with happiness. She immediately understood that this meant that she had to scram as soon as possible. She quickly left the courtyard and stood guard at the door. It was not that she was disloyal, but it was mainly because of the matter between the two of them. She had no way of getting involved. Besides, no matter how weak Beiyu was, he would not hit Qingqing, so it was better for her to stand guard outside the door so that no one would listen to her. However, was Beiyu here to settle the score or to apologize? Chapter 5793 was treating him like a monkey. Just as Ding Wenru was pondering, Nangong Shi squeezed through the crowd. Ding Wenru, is Beiyu inside? Get out of the way, I have something to talk to him about, Nangong Shi said in a bad mood. This Beiyu was too much. The fight in the middle of the night had caused him to not sleep well the entire night, and he had been on tenterhooks the entire day. What was worse was that he had actually broken the appointment. Was he treating him like a monkey? Ding Wenru was even more displeased with Nangong Shi's interference. She coldly snorted, Beiyu and Qingqing are discussing something. If you want to see Beiyu, just wait outside. Nangong Shi was already filled with anger. Now that Ding Wenru had spoken to him in such a manner, he immediately said angrily, Ding Wenru, what are you trying to do? Get out of the way. Nangong Shi was one of the 4 young masters, and there were quite a few admirers among the crowd who were watching the show. Previously, because Nangong Shi and Ding Wenru were close, he was quite dissatisfied with Ding Wenru. However, they felt that Ding Wenru was big and burly, just like a rough man. Even if Nangong Shi was blind, he wouldn't take a fancy to her, so he only said sour words behind her back. He didn't deliberately find trouble with Ding Wenru. However, she actually dared to speak to Nangong Shi like this. It was a bit shameless. Ding Wenru, are you crazy? How did Nangong Shi offend you? You actually spoke to him like this. That's right. She looks like a bear. Nangong Shi being willing to speak to you is already flattering you. You actually don't know what's good for you. What right do you have to stop Nangong Shi? I think she's just Yan Qingqing's dog. She thinks that she's some amazing person. How shameless. Ding Wenru was already used to hearing the words of these people, so she pretended that she didn't hear anything. Nangong Shi frowned. Although he didn't like Ding Wenru, he was considered a familiar person. Listening to these people's words, it felt especially harsh. When he saw that Ding Wenru didn't have any intention of explaining or refuting, he frowned even more and asked coldly, Didn't you hear what they said? Aren't you angry? Or do you not even have the courage to refute? Can't you have a little bit of backbone? Ding Wenru's hand tightened. Backbone? She naturally wanted to have backbone, but after experiencing the shadow of death, nothing was more important than survival. She looked at Nangong Shi with a cold gaze filled with ridicule. Nangong Shi, you're right. I don't have the courage or backbone, so please stay away from me in the future. Also, this is the Primal Academy. Without my and Qingqing's permission. Hearing this, Nangong Shi felt a trace of regret in his heart. His words just now were a bit harsh, and it was also because he had vented his anger on Ding Wenru because of the incident with Beiyu. However, he had always been quiet, so he did not explain. Instead, he stood aside with a cold expression, determined to wait for Beiyu, the culprit, to come out and ask him about it. When Ding Wenru saw him like this, the corners of her mouth curled up with a hint of mockery. He was just a proud son of heaven who had not gone through any hardships. However, he still did not know his own limits. Clearly, Qingqing and Beiyu were a perfect couple, yet he still had to interfere. He was really shameless. She wondered how Beiyu and Qingqing were doing. Did the negotiations fall apart? Just as Ding Wenru was thinking about it, He Xinjia's giggling voice came from the courtyard. Sister Ding, come in. Let's have dinner together. Chapter 5794. A critical hit from dog food. Ding Wenru thought that she was hallucinating. What? Let her in for dinner? Were they back together? Or, were they having a break-up dinner? Ding Wenru pushed open the courtyard door suspiciously and saw He Xinjio sitting on a stone chair eating a walnut while Beiyu was expressionless as he used his spiritual energy to pinch the walnut. Brother Beiyu, don't use so much strength. You've already crushed this walnut kernel, He Xinjio mumbled as she chewed on the walnut kernel. Ding Wenru. The people outside who were craning their necks to watch the show. What happened to the breakup drama? What happened to the breakup drama? Why did they feel the explosive blow of dog food? At this moment, Ding Wenru slammed the courtyard door shut. Nangong Shi, who was about to squeeze in, almost had his nose bleed from the impact. Nangong Shi felt that his luck had been terrible recently. What did he do wrong? Ding Wenru felt relieved when she heard Nangong Shi scream. He deserved. He Xinjio, who was happily eating walnuts, asked curiously, Sister Ding, who's shouting? Ding Wenru curled her lips. Who else could it be? Isn't it that sick Nangong Shi? He insisted on looking for Beiyu. I didn't let him in. A certain person who had arranged the fight in the middle of the night had a flash in his eyes. He had forgotten about this matter. After all, it was an unimportant matter, so he could forget about it. Hei Xingjiu blinked her eyes. Did Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi have a falling out? She had to set him up. Thus she said to Ding Wenru, "Sister Ding, let Nangong Shi in." Ding Wenru unwillingly opened the courtyard door and said to Nangong Shi, "Come in." Nangong Shi covered his nose and glared at Ding Wenru before entering the courtyard. Nangong Shi stared at a certain person with an unfriendly gaze. After Ding Wenru closed the door, he coldly said, "Beiyu, what do you mean?" Crack. A certain person once again opened a walnut and took out the walnut kernel from it. He placed it in front of Yun Chujio and said indifferently, "Whatever you think it means." Nangong Shi was so angry that he was going crazy. This Beiyu was really going too far. Seeing that Nangong Shi's eyes were red with anger, Hei Xingjiu asked in puzzlement, "What happened?" A certain venerable's eyes flickered, and he said indifferently, "Nothing. I just wanted to have a spar with him this evening, but I didn't go because you were looking for me." Hearing the certain someone's casual words, Nangong Shi said angrily, "Why didn't you tell me that you didn't have time to go? Also, can you not send me a message in the middle of the night if you want to have a fight next time?" Hei Xingjiu. Ding Wenru. The certain someone was a little embarrassed by Hei Xingjiu's gaze and said with a cold face, "Are you regretting that we didn't successfully spar? In that case, let's go to the martial arts practice field to spar." Nangong Shi, who was extremely reluctant to make an appointment, was speechless. It was as if he had dug a hole and buried himself. Only then did he realize that it was a good thing that Beiyu did not go to the appointment. Why did he run over and ask? Wasn't he jumping into a fire pit? Was it too late to regret now? Fortunately, Hei Xingjiu mediated, "What's sparring? Let's sit down and have dinner together." A certain venerable looked at Nangong Shi unkindly. Although Yun Chujio had already told him that she wanted to matchmake Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi, he still didn't like Nangong Shi. Nangong Shi's name was very displeasing to the eye. His name was Beiyu and his name was Nangong Shi. One was from the south and the other was from the north. Wasn't he sincerely looking for trouble? Chapter 5795. Fragile and helpless Nangong Shi had no idea that his surname was an eyesore. Although he didn't want to stay for dinner, he saw that Hei Xingjiu was sincerely urging him to stay. Ding Wenru saw that he wasn't here to meddle in the matter, so she treated him a little better. However, that was all. She didn't even give him a look. While eating, Hei Xingjiu asked, "Sister Ding, those bitches outside have been saying bad things about me, haven't they?" Ding Wenru nodded. "Those people have nothing better to do." However, when they saw that you and Beiyu had reconciled, their dumbfounded expressions were really appeasing. Hei Xingjiu curled her lips. "Let them prance around for a few days first. When there's a chance, we'll deal with them." Nangong Shi recalled the harsh words those people had said to Ding Wenru and couldn't help but say, "Not only did those people say a lot of harsh words about you, they also said a lot of bad things about Ding Wenru. I really don't understand. Why didn't you refute them? Are you afraid of them? It's fine if Ding Wenru doesn't have the guts, but Yan Qingqing, you're not even afraid of the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect. Are you afraid of those people?" Ding Wenru's expression immediately turned cold when she heard Nangong Shi's words. "Nangong Shi, you don't have the right to criticize others. You've always been proud of yourself, so naturally, you don't understand the so-called enduring patiently. I've told you before, don't meddle in my affairs. If you continue to criticize me, don't blame me for being impolite to you." After Ding Wenru finished speaking, she directly stood up and returned to the dormitory. For some reason, Nangong Shi could see a sense of weakness and helplessness from her back. He couldn't help but feel annoyed. Hei Xingjiu rolled her black eyes and said, "Nangong Shi, you probably know that Sister Ding and I are from the lower continent, right?" Nangong Shi didn't know why Yun Chujio suddenly mentioned this matter, but he still nodded. "Yes, I've heard it mentioned before." Yun Chujio smiled and said, "What we got was just an ordinary ascending talisman, so we had to pass the test of the soaring dock. Sister Ding and I met in the soaring dock. Speaking of which, the life in the soaring dock is really interesting." Hei Xingjiu told her about the soaring dock, but she emphasized the cruelty of the soaring dock and only briefly talked about her own life. "Sister Ding and I have experienced what happened in the soaring dock. The first thing we learned was to endure. Not all grudges have to be avenged at that time. Sister Ding and I have no background and we don't have any cultivation. There's no need to be so serious about some unimportant sarcasm." Nangong Shi had always been smooth sailing and had always been a favored son of heaven. He had never experienced the situation in the soaring dock. He was so shocked that he did not speak for a long time. He somewhat understood why Ding Wenru had such a big reaction. What he said just now really proved a common saying that it was easier said than done. He couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Ding Wenru had already returned to the bedroom. Even if he wanted to apologize, there was nothing he could do. He looked at a certain someone who still had an indifferent expression and said meaningfully, "It's not like you don't have a backer now." When Nangong Shi said this, his eyes would look at a certain someone from time to time. His meaning was self-evident. Aren't you capable? Then why didn't you stand up for Yan Qingqing? He Xinjiu couldn't help but laugh when she saw this. She said, "Although Brother Bei you can stand up for me, a person still has to rely on himself. Moreover, some grudges can only be satisfied if you personally take revenge." Chapter 5796, One-Sided Love. The three of them. Well, to be exact, Nangong Shi and He Xinjiu chatted for a while more before Nangong Shi left thoughtfully. After Nangong Shi left, a certain someone said indifferently, "Why did you talk so much with that idiot?" He Xinjiu looked at the proud look of a certain someone and was speechless. She lowered her voice and said, "Although Nangong Shi is a little simple-minded, he is still a good person. Besides, I think that Sister Ding and he are quite suitable. It's not bad to set them up." A certain elder shook his head. "I think that the two of them don't like each other. How can you tell that they are suitable?" A certain elder did not judge a person by his appearance. He did not think that Ding Wenru was a good match for Nangong Shi. He simply thought that there was nothing ambiguous between the two of them. He Xinjiu lowered her voice mysteriously and said, "Sister Ding is so thick-skinned that she's almost as thick-skinned as me. PV never seen her lose control of herself like this even when I've heard other people say nasty things in the past. It goes to show that Nangong Shi's position in her heart is different. In addition, Nangong Shi is usually quiet and rarely meddles in other people's business. Today, however, he's standing up for Sister Ding. Although he's speaking in an interrogative tone, it's obvious that he cares about Sister Ding. Therefore, there must be something between the two of them. I've been through it. This kind of mutual dislike is the beginning of a relationship." While this guy was talking, he felt a little cold. When he raised his head, he saw a certain someone staring at her with a dead fish's eyes. "Experienced person? Shouldn't you explain it to me?" A certain someone squeezed out a sentence through the gaps of his teeth. He Xinjiu rolled her eyes. "I'm talking about what happened between you and me. Are you jealous of yourself?" A certain someone. He had forgotten that when they first met they did not like each other. That was not right. Didn't his little wife fall in love with him at first sight? Didn't she say that she stripped him of his clothes because Xinyu was in love with him? Was he lying to him? A few thoughts flashed through his mind, but he said without batting an eyelid, "In that case it makes sense. We did have some grudges in the past. By the way, what was your impression of me when you first saw me?" He Xinjiu did not know that the man was digging a hole. He jumped into it happily and said while twitching his lips, "I get angry when you mention that. Didn't I just rip off a piece of your clothes and eat a piece of your fruit? Do you have to shout and shout? If I wasn't smart enough. Therefore I thought that you were an arrogant pervert. By the way, you are also a narcissist. Do you really think that I fell in love with you at first sight? TSK. Although your appearance is indeed infuriating, I have seen all kinds of handsome guys. How could I really fall in love with you at first sight?" Just as He Xinjiu was boasting, she felt a certain someone's gaze on her body turn cold. This guy's IQ suddenly went up. It's over. Why did he say that he was bald? He Xinjiu, who had a strong desire to survive, immediately thought of the excuse of saving herself and continued, "Although I didn't have any special feelings for you when I was stripping you when you came to the Yun family to settle the score with me, the moment I saw you, I knew that you were the person in my heart, the person I had been waiting for all this time. Because it was different from when I was in a coma. Your disapproving attitude towards the heavens and the earth, no, it was your heaven-shaking and earth-shattering temperament that made me so infatuated that I couldn't extricate myself. Therefore, strictly speaking, it wasn't that we didn't like each other. It was a one-sided, unrequited love. No, an open love." Chapter 5797, Cry whenever you want, laugh whenever you want. If it was in the past, a certain someone might have been fooled by He Xinjiu. But now that he knew her too well, he could tell at a glance that she was lying. However, he wasn't really angry. He was just slightly disappointed. Regardless of whether it was love at first sight in the beginning or mutual loathing, the love between him and her now couldn't be faked. Even if he was angry about Nangong Shi, it was only a small matter. In his heart he trusted He Xingjiu completely. However, when he saw He Xingjiu's anxious expression, he immediately pretended to be cold. He Xingjiu thought that he was angry and lowered his head. Only then did he forgive her. He Xingjiu did not know that she had been schemed against and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. She could not help but curse in her heart. Why was her IQ always lower in front of a gigolo? Could it be that the IQ of a woman in love was really zero? At this moment, the sky was already dark. As he was not allowed to go out after midnight, Di Biming left even though he was reluctant. He Xingjiu closed the courtyard door and hopped outside Ding Wenris' dormitory. She knocked on the door and said, "Sister Ding, I have something to tell you." Ding Wenris' slightly hoarse voice came from inside the room. "Let's talk about it tomorrow morning. I'm sleepy." He Xingjiu blinked her eyes and said, "Chbei gave me some fruits that PV never seen before. They're soft, sweet and sweet. Since you're sleepy, let's forget about it." After saying that, He Xingjiu silently counted in her heart. 1, 2, 3. Just as she counted to 3, the door creaked open. Ding Wenru walked out with swollen eyes and said, "I'm not very sleepy yet. Qingqing, why are you looking for me?" He Xingjiu almost laughed out loud. However, when she saw Ding Wenru's swollen eyes, she forcefully held it back and said with a smile, "It's nothing serious. I just want to treat you to some fruits." Ding Wenru knew that Yun Chujio was concerned about her, so she followed her and sat on the chair in the courtyard. Yun Chujio not only took out a plate of spiritual fruits, but also some pastries and a pot of hot tea. Ding Wenru had returned to the bedroom in a fit of pique. She had not eaten her fill, so she did not stand on ceremony and picked up the pastries to eat. Yun Chujio did not mention what happened during dinner. Instead, she rambled on and on. Then, she threw a bottle of ointment to her and yawned as she said, "Here, wipe your eyes a little before you go to bed. Don't let those coquettish bitches gossip about you tomorrow." Ding Wenru took the ointment and nodded. She said with a hint of self-mockery, "Qingqing, don't worry. I won't be so useless in the future." Yun Chujio said seriously, "Sister Ding, everyone has their weak moments. Everyone has their weak moments. No one can be strong all the time. So when you close the door, you can laugh and cry whenever you want. That's because we are friends. Why is it so useless to show your weak side in front of those close to you?" After saying that, Yun Chujio turned around and went into the bedroom. Ding Wenru was stunned on the spot. All this while, although Yun Chujio kept saying that the two of them were friends in Ding Wenru's heart, she knew that she was always the one who clung to the thigh, the one who fawned on the lowly. When those people called her Yen Qingcheng's dog, she more or less felt a trace of bitterness and inferiority in her heart. That was why her reaction was so intense when Nangong Shi said that she did not have the courage and backbone. Ding Wenru's eyes immediately became moist again. Her heart felt a little sour and sweet, as if her entire person had become much more relaxed. At this moment, spirit energy suddenly surged towards her from all directions. Chapter 5798. Epiphany. Ding Wenru was stunned for a moment before an ecstatic expression appeared on her face. Did she have an epiphany? She could not care less and immediately sat down cross-legged to meditate, combing through the spiritual energy that was constantly surging into her body. He Xingjiu, who was in the house, also felt the abnormality and hurriedly walked out. When she saw Ding Wenru, who was wrapped in spiritual energy, she immediately understood that she was having an epiphany. She quickly ran to the entrance of the courtyard to guard it so that Ding Wenru would not be disturbed. The abnormality here also attracted some people's attention. After all, the prehistoric branch was in the middle of the alchemy branch and the talisman seal branch. When everyone saw the continuous flow of spiritual power towards the prehistoric branch, they immediately thought of a possibility, which was that someone had had an epiphany. Everyone's faces were filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred. They did not know whether it was Yen Qingqing or Ding Wenru who had had an epiphany. They were really lucky. Due to the ban on walking at night, although everyone was curious, they could only poke around in their own courtyards. They had no way to find out what was going on. Ding Wenru's epiphany lasted for 4 hours. She opened her eyes and looked at He Xingjiu excitedly. "Qingqing, I had an epiphany. I had an epiphany. I actually broke through to the 5th level in an instant. I'm already at the 8th level of the divine enlightenment." He Xingjiu felt happy for Ding Wenru, but at the same time she couldn't help but feel sour. She had only managed to break through to the 5th level of the divine revelation with all her trickery, but Ding Wenru's casual epiphany had already surpassed her by a notch. In the past, she hadn't been able to break through so much even with an epiphany. However, this fellow felt that this was a chance for her to expose her true spiritual power, so he directly adjusted his spiritual power to the true 5th level of the divine revelation. After thinking for a while, he painfully used the lightning strike stone he had extorted to break through, and finally he scrambled to break through to the 7th layer of the divine enlightenment. Ding Wenru was originally extremely excited because of her epiphany. She felt that she was simply the favored child of heaven and earth. Otherwise, how could she have broken through to the 5th layer in such a short time? But now, she watched Hei Shinjio soar from the 9th layer of the spirit extinguisher to the 7th layer of the divine enlightenment. She immediately threw that little bit of self-satisfaction out of her mind. At the very most, she was the Hei Shinjio looked at the few remaining lightning strike stones in her storage ring and felt her heart ache. It seemed that she had to get more lightning strike stones if she had the chance. This fellow's eyes suddenly lit up. Director Xiaofu also had a lightning spirit root, so he must have a lot of lightning strike stones. Why not just find an opportunity to extort him? However, he was most likely having a stroke last time, so he might not be so generous next time. At this moment, Ding Wenru came over and asked, "Qingqing, did you have an epiphany too?" Hei Shinjio blinked her eyes and nodded shamelessly. "Yes, I had an epiphany too, but it was not as big as yours." When Ding Wenru had had an epiphany earlier, she did not know the situation around her. She immediately believed it and said happily, "Qingqing, is it true that we have had a great time? This is great." Hei Shinjio immediately poured cold water on her. The lowest cultivation level of the upper house students is at the 2nd layer of the divine summoning realm. Although we have broken through so many levels, we are still at the bottom. We are still at the bottom of the pit. Ding Wenru was much more open-minded than before the epiphany. Hearing that, she smiled and said, "Although we are at the bottom now, we will eventually surpass them in the future. Moreover, no matter what, we are much stronger than before." The faint inferiority complex between her brows had been replaced by self-confidence. Even her plain and ordinary appearance had become more vivid. Chapter 5799 was here for you early the next morning. Many people gathered outside Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru's courtyard, wanting to see which one of them had an epiphany. When they saw that Ding Wenru and Yun Chujio's cultivation had actually soared by a large margin, they were so shocked that their jaws almost fell to the ground. Oh my God! How is this possible? Although an epiphany can increase one's cultivation, breaking through 3 levels is already considered pretty good. How did these two break through so much? Yeah, these two are really lucky. I don't know how they got an epiphany. Even if they got an epiphany, one of them is only at the 7th level and the other one is at the 8th level. They are still trash. Giving them the opportunity to have an epiphany is a waste of heaven's gifts. Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru ignored the sarcasm of these people and treated them as if they were barking dogs. Ding Wenru still went to the refining department to freeload, while Hei Shinjio went to the spiritual energy department. The reason why this fellow went to the spiritual energy department was partly to announce her sovereignty over a certain lord, and partly because she wanted to bump into Director Xiaofu by chance. It would be great if she could extort some thunderstones at the same time. Hei Shinjio got up earlier today, so class hadn't started yet when she arrived at the spiritual energy department. Hei Shinjio ran to Di Baiming's side and cuddled him for a while. She successfully made some of the girls' eyes turn red with anger, and only then did she jump out of the teaching hall. This fellow started strolling around in the spirit division. Not to mention that his efforts did not disappoint the diligent person, he actually saw Director Xiaofu from afar. This fellow immediately stretched out his claws and greeted, Director Xiaofu, I'm here to see you." Director Xiaofu raised his head and saw Yun Chujio. Old and new grudges surged in his heart. This damn brat. If it wasn't for her, how could he have been possessed by the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect? Also, this brat had actually extorted so many spirit stones from that dead grasshopper. She was really courting death. Director Zaifa's heart was immediately filled with killing intent. Since this brat had voluntarily come to his doorstep, he might as well coax her into his courtyard and then kill her. Although it was a little risky, there was no evidence to prove it. At that time he would just casually accuse her. If it were in the past, Vice Director Xiaofu would definitely not be so reckless. But now he was driven mad by the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect. He could not wait to get rid of this situation where he was restricted by the insect, so he could not care less. He made up his mind and squeezed out a kind smile on his face. He said to Hei Shinjio, who had already run over, "Yan Qingqing, are you here to listen in on the Spirit Power Academy or are you here to find me?" Hey Shinjio said with a smile. Of course, I'm here to see you. I wanted to invite you to have dinner with me last time, but you have something to attend to, so I was wondering if you would like to have lunch with me? Deputy Chancellor Xiao was delighted and quickly said, That's fine. But it's still early. Why don't you come to my study first? I have something to tell you. Seeing that Deputy Director Xiaofu was so enlightened, He Xinjiu understood that it was obvious that Deputy Director Xiaofu had no good intentions. If Deputy Director Xiaofu had other spiritual roots and his cultivation was much higher than hers, she would definitely not dare to go to the meeting. However, it just so happened that he had a thunder spiritual root. If he really attacked her, it would be a joke. He Xinjiu immediately nodded. All right. Let's go to your study then. Seeing that Yun Chujio had agreed, Deputy Director Xiaofu sneered in his heart. Good, very good, today is the day you lose your life. Chapter 5800 Drinking Tea. He Xinjiu followed Director Xiaofu to his courtyard and then to the study room. A cold glint flashed across Director Xiaofu's eyes. Just as he was about to make a move, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect's voice came from his spiritual sense. You did well this time, but you're too stupid. Leave the matter of getting information to me. Director Xiaofu. Before he could even react, he was already clueless. For a moment, He Xinjiu felt that there was something different about Director Xiaofu, but she could not tell what it was. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect pointed at a chair beside him. Sit. He Xinjiu naturally did not stand on ceremony. After sitting down, she picked up the pastries on the coffee table and started eating. After all, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was not a human, so it did not have any thoughts about Yun Chujia's uninvited behavior. Right now, all it wanted to do was to get Yun Chujia's word so that it could confirm whether the corpse pearl was on Yun Chujio or not. It recalled the poison plan that it failed to implement last time, and its eyes flashed. It picked up the teapot on the table and poured a cup of tea for Yun Chujio. You can't just eat pastries. Come have some tea. While pouring the tea, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug also poured the corpse poison into the tea. Yun Chujio picked up the teacup but did not drink it. She said with a touched expression, Director Xiaofu, please pour the tea for me. I'm really touched. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug said dryly, guests are guests. Such a small matter is not worth mentioning. That being said, you are a teacher. How can I trouble you? Drink this cup of tea. I'll pour another cup myself. He Xinjiu pushed the teacup in front of the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug as she spoke. She picked up an empty cup and poured herself a cup of tea. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was so angry that it was twitching. It had never seen this wretched girl so respectful to her teacher before. Why was she talking about rules today? It picked up the teacup and drank it in one gulp. In any case, Deputy Director Xiaofu's corpse had already been invaded by the corpse poison, so there was no need for this cup of tea. Its eyes flashed. She could do it herself. This time it would just pour the corpse poison into the teapot. Therefore, it took the opportunity to pour the corpse poison into the teapot for itself, and then filled up Yun Chujia's empty cup. Then it was stunned to find that He Xinjiu had no intention of drinking tea. Yan Qingqing, why don't you drink tea? Could it be that you dislike the tea here? The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor. Yun Chujio smiled and said, Vice Director Xiaofu, you misunderstood. I'm just not thirsty. By the way, why did you ask me to come here? The misunderstanding in the bloodthirsty insect valley has been explained clearly. Do you want to explain to me what happened in the Thunder Valley? The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect didn't know anything about the Thunder Valley and could only vaguely say, that's right. The Thunder Valley incident was also a misunderstanding. Come have some pastries. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug's idea was very simple. This wretched girl had eaten too many pastries, so she would naturally drink tea. Yin Chujio was so smart. Not to mention the existence of Gowei Batsao, even if there wasn't any, Director Xiaofun was so obvious that he let her drink tea, so she could also tell that there was something fishy about this tea. She blinked her eyes, wanting to scheme against her? It was going to be a lightning strike stone. Yun Chujio picked up a piece of pastry but sighed and put it down. She said, Director Xiaofu, to be honest, the last time I went to the Thunder Valley I came back empty-handed. When I think of this matter, my heart is filled with anxiety. How can I eat anything? Chapter 5801, Where's my lightning strike stone? The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was going crazy. It wished it could just pick up the teapot and pour the tea into Yun Chujia's mouth. At this time Yun Chujio said faintly, if only someone could give me a lightning strike stone, I wouldn't be so disappointed. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug's eyes lit up when it heard that. When it transferred the spirit stones to this stinky girl, it found that there were many stones that emitted the power of lightning in the storage ring. It should be the lightning strike stone that she mentioned. Therefore the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug said casually, isn't it just the lightning strike stones? How difficult is that? I still have a lot of lightning strike stones here. I'll give them all to you as compensation. Yun Chujio immediately stood up in fear and trepidation. Vice Director Xiaofu, I was just saying casually just now. Why you really want to give them to the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug curled its lips. What spirit stones? What lightning strike stones? They are all worldly possessions. They'll transfer them to you right away. Hei Shinjio looked at the more than 30,000 lightning strike stones that had appeared in her storage ring. Her eyelashes were about to burst with joy. She had only extorted 40,000 to 50,000 lightning strike stones from Xiaomo. She did not expect Director Xiaofu to be so rich. However, that was also true. When he had led the team on missions in the past, he must have been greedy for lightning strike stones. Otherwise, how could he have so many? However, this Deputy Director Xiaofu really put in a lot of effort. He was determined to poison her to death. In any case, as long as he poisoned her to death, he could still take back the lightning strike stones. Unfortunately, he was destined to get nothing out of it. Her thoughts flashed and she suddenly clutched her stomach. Ouch, ouch, I suddenly have an unbearable abdominal pain. Deputy Director Xiaofu will go out for a while. Hei Shinjio did not wait for the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect to react and immediately rushed out of the study room, disappearing without a trace. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect waited for a while, but did not see Yun Chujio return. Finally, it realized that it was 80% probably fooled. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect smashed the tea table into powder in anger and returned its body to Director Xiaofu with hatred. When Director Xiaofu saw that the coffee table had turned into fine powder, an ominous premonition suddenly arose in his heart. Sir, where is Yan Qingqing? The 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor bug said unhappily. She said that she had a stomachache, but she didn't come back after she went out. She really angered me to death. Director Xaiaphus' face was full of speechlessness. Such an obvious excuse, but he actually couldn't see through it? Still trying to get information? It was such a pity that this was such a great opportunity. Director Xiaofu suddenly remembered the incident with the spirit stones and quickly checked his storage ring. Fortunately, the spirit tools, pills, talismans were all there. Where was the lightning strike stone? Where was his lightning strike stone? Where was the lightning strike stone that he had painstakingly gathered? Director Xaiaphus' head buzzed and almost collapsed to the ground. Although he already had a guess in his heart, he still asked, Sir, where is my lightning strike stone? The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor said lightly, I gave it to that stinky girl. Isn't it just some broken stones? Look at how you're searching. Director Xiaofu immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Broken stones? That was the foundation of his cultivation. Without the lightning strike stone, was he supposed to go to the cultivation room and cultivate with those students? Seeing this, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect said disdainfully, You spit blood at any time. You are really a waste. If I had known earlier, I would have possessed someone else. You are really useless. Chapter 5802. He had to go even if he did not want to. Director Xiaofu almost died from anger. Was it useless to dislike him? If it had not interfered, he would have already killed that bitch Yan Qingqing by now. Who exactly was this damn grasshopper? Why did he feel that it had been helping Yan Qingqing to trick him? Director Xiaofu wanted to get the lightning strike stone back, but when he thought of Yun Chujie's crafty character, how could he spit out the lightning strike stone in her hands? When Vice Director Xiaofu thought of his own spiritual stone and thunder stone being given to Yun Chujio by the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug, he couldn't bear it any longer and said coldly, Director Xiaofu, if you don't give me the thunder stone, I'll kill you. Sir, although my life is in your hands, you still have something to rely on me for. So please don't make decisions on your own in the future, or else neither I nor you will be able to achieve your goal. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was already very angry after being deceived by Hei Shinjio. Now that it saw that Director Xiaofu had actually threatened it, it immediately became angry. Do you want to die? You useless ant, how dare you talk to me like that? Isn't it just some broken stones? What's the big deal? Just go and get some. Director Xaifa's heart moved when he heard that. It had been a while since he went to the Thunder Valley last time. He could suggest to go to other Thunderstone producing areas to collect Thunderstone. At that time he would think of a way to bring Yan Qingqing along. Finding an opportunity to kill her would be as easy as flipping his hand. Director Xiaofu was afraid that the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect would interfere again, so he told it his idea. This idea is not bad. You have finally grown a brain. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect said casually. Director Xiaofu was so angry that he was half dead. He made up his mind. Don't let this damn grasshopper fall into his hands in the future. Otherwise I will make it suffer a fate worse than death. 2 days later, after Vice President Xiao had made some plans, he came to see President Gu. President, because we met the demons in the Thunder Valley last time, we didn't complete the task of collecting the lightning strike stones. Now, whether it's the upper house, the middle house, or the lower house, there aren't many lightning strike stones left. It's necessary to organize another task of collecting the lightning strike stones. President Gu nodded. Since that's the case, then it'll trouble you to make a trip. Bring the students of the third house to pick a place where lightning strike stones are produced to collect lightning strike stones. President, other than the Thunder Valley, the risk of producing lightning strike stones is relatively high. Even the 100 Pits mountain range that I chose this time isn't low. I think we shouldn't let the students of the lower house and the middle house participate. I will bring the students of the Thunder Spirit root of the upper house as well as the student representatives of the various branches to go with me. Hurry back so that we do not delay the trial of the 6 Directions Water Pavilion. Seeing that what he said made sense, President Gu did not think too much about it. He nodded and agreed. In that case, I will leave this matter to you. You must ensure the safety of the students. Director Xiaofu was delighted and quickly agreed. Director Xiaofu came out of President Gu's courtyard, and a cold smile immediately appeared on his face. Previously, didn't Yan Qingqing say that the Primal Region branch would participate in all kinds of activities? This time she had to go or she had to go. There was no need for Beiyu to go so as not to get in the way. After making up his mind, Director Xiaofu began to prepare for the 100 Pit Mountain Range trial. When He Xingjiu found out that she was also on the list for the 100 Pit Mountain Range trial, she immediately cried out. Especially when she found out that Beiyu was not on the list, she cried her heart out, elated, and cried her heart out, overjoyed. Chapter 5803 For the glory of the Primal Region branch. Seeing this, everyone could understand why Yan Qingqing was so sad. They had heard that the danger level of the 100 Pits mountain range was much higher than the Thunder Valley. This Yan Qingqing's cultivation level was low and she did not have the backing of the Northern Imperial Army. She might even have to die there. How could she not be sad? The person who gloated the most was Xiao Lianxiao. She had even predicted the ending of Yan Qingqing. She would die without a complete corpse. The lecturers accompanying her this time were all the direct descendants of Director Xiaofu. As long as they left the 10-sided waterside pavilion, Yan Qingqing would be squashed by her and Director Xiaofu. After Ding Wenru heard the news, she was very worried. Qingqing, Director Xiaofu and Xiao Lianjiu hate you to the bone. Quickly think of a way not to go. He Xingjiu sighed. I'm the only student in the primeval subdivision. How can I retreat at the last minute? For the glory of the primeval subdivision, even if there are difficulties ahead, I have to press forward. Tell me, do you have other plans? Ding Wenru rolled her eyes. Who doesn't know who? Nothing. I just want to get some lightning strike stones to cultivate. Besides, life is too boring. It's not bad to go out and have fun. He Xingjiu blinked her eyes and said, That's too risky. What if Vice Director Xiao and Xiao Lianxiao want to harm you? You're alone, isn't it called not responding every day and not responding to the ground? Ding Wenru said disapprovingly. Don't worry. I have a plan. He Xingjiu said indifferently. Vice Director Xiaofu and those lecturers all had Thunder Spirit roots. What was she afraid of? If worst came to worst, she could just let them attack her at will. Although she would suffer a little, she could still increase her cultivation. Ding Wenru saw that she had already made up her mind and could not persuade her anymore. Di Biming heard the news and also advised Yun Chujio not to participate in this trial. However, in the end he still could not persuade He Xingjiu, so he could only let her be. A certain honored guest thought for a moment and tried to suppress the sourness in his heart as he instructed. I see that Nangong sure is on the list. Although he doesn't have a brain, his cultivation isn't that great and he's ugly, at least he won't harm you. You should usually go with him. Hei Xinjiu looked at a certain honored guest's awkward look and could not help but laugh in her heart, but she still nodded her head and agreed. In the blink of an eye it was time to set off. Hei Xinjiu hurried to the meeting place. This time she did not pretend to be sad, since Vice Director Xiaofu was eager for her to go. Xiao Lianxiao had arrived long ago. After seeing Yun Chuzhou, she curled the corner of her mouth mockingly and did not make a sound. Yun Chuzhou glanced at the students who came with her. They were all old faces. She had seen all the Thunder Spirit Root students from the upper house and the new students from the middle school during the last Thunder Valley trial. The representatives of the other branches were also old acquaintances. The Array Division was by Yuechen, the Beastmaster Division was Jiang Shuangli, the Talisman Division was Ji Lingfeng, and the Refining Division was Nangong Shi. Because the Thunder Spirit Root students were basically from the Spirit Power Division, the Spirit Power Division didn't send any additional students. This Nangong Shi saw Yun Chuzhou coming over and came over to talk to her. While the two were talking, Director Xiaofu came over with 3 lecturers. Yun Chuzhou's eyes flashed. These 3 lecturers had also followed Director Xiaofu to the Thunder Valley previously. They were all direct descendants of Director Xiaofu. It seemed that Director Xiaofu was determined to kill her this time. However, why did she feel that Director Xiaofu had been acting a little strange recently? It wasn't that he had been acting strange all along. Now he seemed to be acting normal. Previously, when he gave her the Spirit Stones and the Thunder Stone, he seemed to be acting a little strange. Could it be that he had an intermittent spasm? Chapter 5804. After Deputy Director Xiaofu asked the 3 lecturers to count the number of people, he directly led everyone out of the upper house and boarded the ship. During this process, Deputy Director Xiaofu did not show any abnormalities. His gaze did not even linger on Yun Chuzhou for a moment. Deputy Director Xiaofu had clearly instructed Xiao Lianxiao in advance. Even though Xiao Lianxiao's expression towards Yun Chuzhou was very unfriendly, she did not say anything. Yun Chuzhou sneered in her heart. She was probably afraid that she would go back on her words and not go with her to train. Tiske, if Vice Director Xiaofu knew that she was so eager for such an opportunity, would he be angered to death? After boarding the boat, Yun Chuzhou still ran to the deck to fish. Nangong Shi thought for a moment and followed her out. He wanted to say something but hesitated. After hesitating for a while, he still asked, "How has Ding Wenru been recently?" Ever since he said those words last time, Ding Wenru hadn't said a word to him. Even if they bumped into each other in the refining department, she pretended not to have seen him. Previously, in order to stop Nangong Shi and Yun Chuzhou, Ding Wenru often took the initiative and was very active. Sometimes she would even find words to talk to him. The contrast between the past and the present was extremely sharp. Nangong Shi felt that he wasn't quite used to it. However, due to his personality, he didn't know how to break the deadlock. Yun Chuzhou looked meaningfully at Nangong Shi and sighed. "Sigh, I was worried about this matter. Sister Ding hasn't been eating recently and is silent. I tried to persuade her a few times, but it was to no avail." Nangong Shi immediately said anxiously, "How can this be? How can my body withstand it if it keeps going on like this?" Yun Chuzhou sighed again. "Yes, Sister Ding used to love to talk and laugh, but ever since you argued with her last time, she has become like this." Nangong Shi was anxious and guilty. This was all his fault. It was easy for him to say things while standing. His nonsense had hurt Ding Wenru's self-esteem. He was simply a bastard. Yun Chuzhou looked at Nangong Shi's self-reproaching and annoyed expression and couldn't help but laugh in her heart. It seemed that this couple had a chance. Tsk, she didn't expect that she still had the potential to be a matchmaker. She counted with her fingers and realized that she had already promoted several couples. It was simply a meritorious deed. Nangong Shi, as the saying goes, the one who unties the bell must be the one who unties it. When we return from the trial, you should go and apologize to Sister Ding. I reckon that she won't be so depressed. Nangong Shi nodded and was silent for. Then he asked in puzzlement, "Oh right, didn't you and Ding Wenru have an epiphany earlier? How did she have an epiphany when she was in such a bad mood?" Yun Chuzhou lied without batting an eyelid. "I guess she had an epiphany when she was extremely disappointed. It was similar to how a person would escape into an empty door when they were sad." Escape into an empty door? Nangong Shi was in a bad mood. What kind of sin did he commit to actually force such a good girl to become a monk? Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. "Nangong Shi, you have to bear the main responsibility for Sister Ding's condition. After you come back, talk to her more and make her happier." Perhaps she will be able to let go of the knot in her heart. Nangongsher nodded solemnly and said, "Don't worry. I started this matter. I will be responsible for it." Hei Shinjio secretly laughed in her heart. Aren't you going to be responsible for it? For the rest of your life? After a while, Yun Chujio recalled the matter of the trial and asked, "Right, the location of our trial is the 100 Pits Mountain Range. It can't be that there are 100 pits inside, so it's called the 100 Pits Mountain Range?" Chapter 5805, The 100 Pits Mountain Range. Nangongsher nodded. You guessed right. There are indeed many pits in the 100 Pits Mountain Range. There are countless pits of various sizes. However, there are more than 100 pits on a larger scale. That's why it's called the 100 Pits Mountain Range. Then, who was so bored to dig so many pits? Hei Shinjio asked curiously. Nangongsher was speechless. Who would be bored enough to dig pits? These pits were not dug by humans but were formed naturally. These deep pits are also the main source of lightning-striking stones. When the time comes, we will go down into the pits to collect lightning-striking stones. Not only is the 100 Pit Mountain Range prohibited from flying, but there is also no way to use the Jade Talisman seal. We will have to rely on the rope to go down to the bottom of the pit, so the risk is still very high. You should be more careful when the time comes. Hei Xinjia's eyes twitched. Wasn't this the legendary falling into a pit? And it was the same kind of 10,000-year-old deep pit. The road was silent, and the group arrived at the Baihang Mountain Range on this day. From the outside, the Baihang Mountain Range did not seem to be any different from an ordinary mountain range. However, when they entered, they discovered that the ground was covered with large and small pits. Some of these pits were deep and some were shallow. Some were covered by vegetation, and if they were not careful, they would fall into the pits. Fortunately, Director Xiaofu and the others had the topographic map in their hands, so they led the group around the pits that were not easy to find. After a day of trekking, the group finally arrived at the first deep pit. Yun Chujio looked at the huge sinkhole and was somewhat shocked. This sinkhole was a few thousand feet deep. If it was a timid person, they probably would not even have the courage to look down. The edge of the sinkhole was covered with vegetation, and there were quite a lot of vegetation below, but there were also quite a number of exposed areas. Those places were probably where thunderstones were produced. It was also the first time Xiao Yanxiao and the others saw such a deep pit. Their faces were filled with fear. There was no road from the top to the bottom. Could it be that they really relied on ropes to go down? If the ropes were broken halfway or if they were attacked by demon beasts halfway, how could they survive? Don't worry, the rope we used was made of 10,000 strands of tough hemp, and it's extremely strong. Moreover, the vegetation we chose is relatively low, so there won't be any high-level demonic beasts hiding. As long as you move quickly, there won't be any danger. Moreover, the path. If you don't even have this bit of courage, you don't deserve to be the students of the upper house of the 10 Directions Academy, Director Xiaofu said coldly. Shame appeared on everyone's faces. The fear from before had dissipated a bit. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed. Could it be that Director Xiaofu had the intention of throwing her to her death? There was indeed such a possibility. After all, people sometimes made mistakes and horses sometimes made mistakes. At that time, a single mistake would be enough to cover it up. However, it was probably only the first day. He would not be in such a hurry to make a move, so there was no need to worry too much. Moreover, even if he released the rope, she would still be able to keep her life. At this time, a lecturer had already put down the rope. The rope was as thick as a wrist and it indeed looked very tough. The lecturer wrapped one end of the rope around a large tree and tried to say, "Director Xiaofu, it's done. Lecturer Pan, Lecturer Chiu, the two of you stay on top to guard the rope. Lecturer Yao and I will bring them down." After speaking, Director Xiaofu took the lead to descend along the rope. For the sake of safety, after Vice-Chancellor Xiao descended to the bottom of the pit, everyone began to climb down along the rope one after another. After everyone descended to the bottom of the pit, it was difficult to hide their excitement. Although the process was somewhat thrilling, it was really very exciting. Chapter 5806 Thunder Cone Tree. Yun Chujio looked around. The vegetation at the bottom of the pit was very lush. She recalled the situation she had seen from above. The origin of the thunderstones was located in the middle of the deep pit. If they wanted to collect the thunderstones, they had to pass through these vegetation areas first. There are many demonic plants and beasts in this pit. All of them have thunder spirit roots and are extremely aggressive. You must not let your guard down and you must not act on your own. Do you understand? Director Xiaofu shouted sternly. Everyone's expression turned cold and they hurriedly agreed. Only then did Vice Director Xiaofu let Lecturer Yao lead the way while he walked at the end of the group. He Xingjiu and Nangong Shi walked side by side. Nangong Shi lowered his voice and said, "Although my cultivation base isn't too outstanding, I have quite a number of self-defense spiritual weapons that I've refined. Although my level isn't high, I have the advantage in numbers. You should follow me closely." In Nangong Shi's opinion, although Yun Chujio was bold and had many ideas, her cultivation base wasn't enough. After all, they had a good relationship now, so she had to protect her. Yun Chujio smiled and nodded. "Okay, I'll follow you closely. My life depends on you." Xiao Yinxiao, who was walking behind them, had a mocking expression on her face. It was useless to follow her closely. This time she was dead for sure. At this moment, Lecturer Yao, who was walking at the front, gestured for everyone to stop. Everyone was puzzled. They looked up and saw that there were more than 10 strange trees growing about a few hundred feet away from Lecturer Yao. The tree trunks and branches were filled with cone-shaped spikes, and the leaves were filled with black-purple fruits. Those fruits had thick wooden shells and looked like coconuts. These are thunder cone trees. Both the spikes and the fruits are poisonous. If we approach them recklessly, the fruits will explode and the seeds will be poisonous, so we'll take a detour, Lecturer Yao explained. Everyone was not stupid. After hearing what Lecturer Yao said, they quickly followed Lecturer Yao and left the place. He Xingjiu was a little worried. The reason was simple. A certain grass in her dantian was acting cute. He Xingjiu had no strength to complain anymore. This dead grass liked poisonous things, especially poisonous plants. However, under the watchful eyes of everyone, she could not satisfy it. Even if she wanted, she could only comfort her. "Calm down. I'll bring you to eat these seeds when I have the chance." She did not know if it was because the seeds were not attractive enough, or because the Gowei Batsao had learned its lesson. After Yun Chujio had calmed it down, the Gowei Batsao stopped acting as a demon. In fact, He Xingjiu did not know that the reason the Gowei Batsao acted as a demon was because a certain being was far away, but now a certain being was in the upper house. If it acted as a demon, wouldn't it be a dead end if the black-hearted little girl went back and complained? That was why the Gowei Batsao was so obedient. Lecturer Yao led the group around the thunder cone tree, but unexpectedly, after walking for a while, Lecturer Yao stopped again. Lecturer Yao had a difficult expression on his face. He walked up to Deputy Director Xiaofu and said, "Deputy Director Xiaofu, in front of us is a piece of thunder swamp grass. Don't look at the surface as a piece of grass, but the bottom has been corroded into a swamp by them. If we rashly pass through, the consequences will be unimaginable. The lesser of two evils is the lesser of two evils. It is better for us to pass through the thunder cone tree. As long as we are careful and do not touch the trunk and leaves of the thunder cone tree, maintain a sufficient distance and set up a spiritual energy shield, we should be able to pass through." Chapter 5807 Yan Qingqing is dead? Vice-Chancellor Xiao felt that what Lecturer Yao said made sense. Compared to the thunder marsh grass, the thunder cone tree was indeed easier to pass through. Thus, the crowd returned to the thunder cone tree's sphere of influence. Lecturer Yao emphasized the thunder cone tree's deadly poison and ordered everyone to follow closely behind him in a row. There couldn't be any mistakes. The students nodded in agreement. They had not lived long enough, so why would they provoke the thunder cone tree? Xiao Liankio's eyes flashed. Before Nangong Shi could react, she squeezed to Yun Chujio's side and walked side by side with Yun Chujio. Nangong Shi wanted to speak, but Lecturer Yao's urging came from the front, so he could only endure it. A ruthless look flashed in Xiao Liankio's eyes. Although Vice Director Xiaofu had told her not to act rashly, she couldn't wait to let Yun Chujio disappear in front of her. She couldn't hold it in any longer. If she pushed Yan Qingqing into the range of the thunder cone tree's attack when she passed, she would definitely die. Although she might be affected, she had a defensive spirit tool on her, so the seeds of the thunder cone tree were nothing to be afraid of. As for whether it would affect the others, it was not within her consideration. Right now, she only wanted to kill Yan Qingqing for revenge. Yin Chujio was so smart. Even if she used her heel to think, she would know what Xiao Lianxiao was thinking. The corners of her mouth curled up. She was worried that she would not have the chance to feed the Gowei Batsao. The Xiao Lianxiao was really sensible. After a moment, everyone entered the thunder cone tree's territory. When they passed by a thunder cone tree, Xiao Lianxiao fiercely pushed Yun Chujio out. Yun Chujio cried out in shock and her body fell towards the thunder cone tree. Nangong Shi, who was behind her, was about to pull it, but unexpectedly, the thunder cone tree's fruit exploded, and countless black seeds shot out towards everyone. Everyone immediately fell into chaos. They all set up their spiritual energy shields and activated their defensive spiritual devices. Hei Shinjio, who was pushed out, was the first to bear the brunt. Several black seeds shot onto her body. It was unknown whether she was scared silly or not. She actually did not raise her spirit energy shield and allowed those seeds to hit her body. The impact of those black seeds was very strong. They directly pierced through Hei Xinjia's academy uniform and turned her into a sieve. Nangongshir's head buzzed. Was over. Yan Qingqing was dead for sure. She was definitely dead beyond compare. Not to mention that those seeds were highly poisonous. Even if they weren't, they were already shot into a sieve. How could she still be alive? Nangongshir's eyes were red as he looked at Xiao Lianxiao, who was gloating over her misfortune. Xiao Lianxiao, why did you push Yan Qingqing? Your thoughts are too vicious. Xiao Lianqiao's wish was fulfilled. She did not mind Nangongshir's questioning and said casually, I pushed her? Don't you slander me. She clearly fell down by accident. Nangongshir was so angry that his face turned ashen. How could she fly so far away when she fell down? Moreover, Xiao Lianxiao had squeezed into the same row as Yan Qingqing. It was obvious that she did not have good intentions. He clenched his fists. Now was not the time to settle the score. It was better to get Yan Qingqing's body back first. No matter what, he could not let her body be left in the wilderness. He was about to take a step forward to get Yun Chujia's body back, but was stopped by Lecturer Yao. Nangongshir, do you not want to live anymore? If you provoke the thunder cone tree again, it will explode its seeds. We will all suffer. Moreover, the thunder cone tree seeds are highly poisonous, and Yan Qingqing's body will soon be corroded into a pool of black water. Even if you bring her body back, it will be useless. Chapter 5808 Patience required even more courage. Nangongshir's eyes were bloodshot. He really could not accept that Yan Qingqing, who was still alive and kicking just a moment ago, had turned into a dead body. Moreover, in the end, even her corpse would no longer exist. His gaze fell on Xiao Lianxiao. He wished that he could immediately kill her and avenge Yan Qingqing. However, he knew that he could not make a move, because both Vice-Chancellor Xiao and Lecturer Yao would stop him. He had to endure it. He could only wait until he returned to the 10 Directions Academy to give Yan Qingqing justice. He finally understood what Ding Wenru said about having to endure. Sometimes, it took more courage to endure, and it was even more painful. At this time, Lecturer Yao and Vice-Chancellor Xiao urged everyone to continue moving forward. Nangongshir gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. Finally, he glanced at Yun Chujia's corpse and turned to leave. After walking for some distance, he couldn't help but turn around to look at Yun Chujia's corpse again. However, he saw Hei Xinjia's corpse raise its right hand and wave at him. It even raised its head and winked at him. Nangongshir staggered and almost fell to the ground. When he turned around to look again, he realized that Yun Chujia's corpse wasn't moving at all. It was no different from before. Nangongshir was completely dumbfounded. Could it be that he was hallucinating just now? It must be an illusion. Yan Qingqing had been shot by so many thunder cone tree seeds. She definitely wouldn't survive. How could she still be able to wave her hands and blink at him? Nangongshir turned his head to look a few more times, but he didn't find anything unusual. He sighed in his heart. It seemed that it was really an illusion. An hour later, they finally left the thunder cone tree's territory and could not help but let out a long sigh. At this time, Vice-Chancellor Xiao suddenly said, Lecturer Yao, you guys continue to move forward. I will go back and take a look. If Yan Qingqing's body is not corroded, I will try my best to bring her body back to the academy. After all, she is a student of the academy. We cannot let her body be exposed in the wilderness. Everyone was stunned. Almost everyone knew that Vice-Chancellor Xiao disliked Yan Qingqing. They did not expect that Vice-Chancellor Xiao would be so magnanimous. Director Xiaofu was not a person who could be so magnanimous. However, it was also true. A person's death was like the extinguishing of a lamp. No matter how great the enmity was, it would vanish into thin air. Moreover, if Yan Qingqing's corpse was brought back, it could also be considered as an explanation of the cause of her death. Nangongshir was a little conflicted. On one hand, he wanted Vice-Chancellor Xiao to bring Yan Qingqing's corpse back. On the other hand, he thought of the strange situation earlier. If Yan Qingqing was not dead, wouldn't it be terrible if Vice-Chancellor Xiao went back? Therefore, he gritted his teeth and said, Director Xiaofu, I'll go with you. Don't worry, I have a defensive spirit tool with me. I won't drag you down. Director Xiaofu wanted to go back and take Yun Chujia's storage ring. Naturally, he didn't want Nangong Shi to be an eyesore. He said with a straight face, no matter how many defensive spirit tools you have, you can't. Just wait here obediently. After finishing his sentence, Vice Director Xiaofu signaled Lecturer Yao with his eyes and quickly turned back. Nangong Shi wanted to chase after him, but was stopped by Lecturer Yao. Nangong Shi was so anxious that he gritted his teeth, but there was nothing he could do. Vice Director Xiaofu was very excited. As long as he could get Yan Qingcheng's storage ring, he would be able to find the treasure mentioned by the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect, and he would be able to get rid of that damned grasshopper. If his guess was right, that treasure would definitely have a restraining effect on the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect. At that time he would definitely make that damn grasshopper suffer a fate worse than death. In addition, as long as he got the ring, the spirit stones and lightning strike stones that had been sent out by that damn grasshopper would all return to his hands. How could he not be excited? Chapter 5809 Tree was scared away while Director Xiaofu was getting excited. There was a continuous crackling sound in the distance. Director Xiaofu stopped in his tracks. What was going on? Director Xiaofu jumped onto a tree next to him and looked up. He saw that the thunder cone trees were already covered in black seeds and the thunder cone trees were waving their branches and leaves crazily. How did the thunder cone trees become like this? Director Xiaofu frowned. Although his cultivation was not bad, under such circumstances, he did not dare to move forward rashly. He could only wait for the thunder cone trees to calm down before moving closer. Otherwise it would not be worth it if he lost his life. Anyway, even if Yan Qingcheng's corpse turned into black water, the storage ring would not melt. As time passed, the sound of the explosion became quieter and quieter. Just as Director Xiaofu was about to move forward to search for the storage ring, he was stunned to find that a tree was running towards him. When he looked closely, it was actually a thunder cone tree. Director Xiaofu was completely dumbfounded. What was going on? He did not know as much about Yao plants as Lecturer Yao, so he was momentarily stunned. What confused him was that behind the thunder cone tree, there were a few thunder cone trees that were running towards him quickly. Director Xiaofu could not figure out the situation for a moment. He was afraid that the thunder cone trees would attack him, so he quickly turned around and ran. For the time being he could not care about Yun Chujia's storage ring. What Director Xiaofu did not know was that a few miles away from him, He Xinjiu was happily absorbing the power of lightning underground. After the guy faked his death and saw that Vice Director Xiaofu and the others had left, he got up and began to collect the seeds of the thunder cone tree. Seeing that she was not dead, the thunder cone tree sprayed again, but it was useless. Gowei Batsao swallowed a handful of seeds and felt that it was not enough. It asked Yun Chujiu to cut open the trunk of the thunder cone tree so that it could directly absorb the venom. He Xinjiu immediately took the large kitchen knife and chopped the trunk of the thunder cone tree. The unlucky thunder cone tree was quickly sucked dry of its juice and turned into a withered tree. When the other thunder cone trees saw this, they attacked He Xinjiu crazily. However, it was useless. There was nothing they could do. The thunder cone trees had no choice but to uproot and run away. Although they had lost this precious land of feng shui, it was still better than turning into a withered tree branch. Just as He Xinjiu was about to chase after them, Xiao Mogu reminded her that there was the power of lightning underground. He Xinjiu immediately released Xiao Mogu and began to absorb the power of lightning. She was so beautiful that she was about to bubble. On the other side, Director Xiaofu managed to dodge the lightning cone trees with great difficulty and rushed towards Yun Chujiu. At this moment, He Xinjiu had just finished absorbing the power of lightning underground. She heard footsteps and slipped into the dense vegetation nearby. When Director Xiaofu saw the dead lightning cone tree, he could not help but turn pale with fright. He searched the place where Yun Chujia's body was originally, but he did not find the storage ring. He could not help but frown. At this moment, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug in his body cursed, "You idiot! You should have put the stinky girl's body away just now. Now her storage ring must have been picked up by someone else. I've never seen a loser like you. Well, it seems that I have to do it myself." Deputy Director Xiaofu didn't know anything before he could object. After the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect seized control of the body, it first moved its limbs, then sniffed and looked at a nearby plant. Chapter 5810 Who hit it? The The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug revealed a cold smile and slapped the plant. The palm wind instantly turned the plant into dust, but there was nothing unusual. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was stunned. It clearly smelled the scent of a human. How could there be nothing? Could it be that its sense of smell was wrong because it used this trash's body? The 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor insect didn't give up. It searched around for a while but still didn't find anything. The 1,000-year corpse turtle emperor insect was so angry that it was twitching. It was all this trash's fault. If he had put away that smelly Gurpies corpse at that time, why would there be so much trouble? This was great. It was unknown whether the corpse-stabilizing pearl had been picked up by someone else or swallowed by a demon beast. Where could it find it? As long as the corpse-stabilizing pearl still existed in this world, it was a great threat to it. It was all because of this damn trash. The more the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect thought about it, the angrier it got. It slapped Director Xiophus' face twice and then returned his body to Director Xiaofu. As soon as Director Xiaofu regained consciousness, he felt a burning pain on his face. He took out a mirror and looked at the swollen pig-like face in the mirror. He was going crazy. Sir, what's going on? Who hit you? Director Xiaofu said angrily with his spiritual sense. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug snorted. I hit you. Why do you have a problem with that? If it weren't for you, I would have found the treasure long ago. I have already let you off the hook for not killing you. Director Xiaofu. Director Xiaofu gritted his teeth. In his heart, he wished that he could cut the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug into 1,000 pieces. However, he could only swallow his anger and say, Sir, there shouldn't be anyone else nearby. Yan Qingcheng's storage ring was most likely swallowed by a demonic beast or something. There aren't many people here. Even if you can't find that treasure, it won't be a threat to you. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug snorted. What you said is easy. I clearly felt that there were other people here but I couldn't find them. Forget it. I'm too lazy to waste my breath on a fool like you. I want to rest for a while. Don't disturb me. Director Xiophus' face was livid, but he didn't dare to say anything. He took out a medicine that could reduce swelling and dissolve bruises and smeared it on his face. Only then did he chase after Lecturer Yao and the others. After Director Xiaofu walked far away, a little girl appeared where the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect's palm wind swept. If it wasn't Yun Chuzhou, then who was it? This fellow hid in the great void mystic realm the moment the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect raised its hand, and only then did he manage to dodge that palm strike. Although this fellow did not think that Director Xiophus' Thunder Spirit Root posed too much of a threat, she did not know why, but she felt that there was something wrong with Director Xiaofu. To be on the safe side, she still hid in the great void mystic realm. Moreover, she could not explain why the Thunder Cone Tree had run away, but she stayed where she was. She could not see what was happening outside through the great void mirror, but the ball of yarn could. It told her what it saw. Yun Chuzhou frowned. Director Xiaofu had slapped her twice? Was he crazy? He probably came back to look for her storage ring. After all, she had extorted a lot of spiritual stones and thunderstrike stones from him, but why did she slap herself? Could it be that she was annoyed that she did not put away her corpse at the first moment? Yun Chuzhou could not figure it out, but she was sure that there was something wrong with Director Xiaofu. There must be some secret. She then thought of the abnormal behavior of Director Xiaofu when she extorted him twice, and a bold and strange idea came to her mind. Chapter 58:11 turned out to be an escape. Director Xiophus' abnormality was very similar to the situation where she had lost control of her body to go Wei Batsao. Could it be that Director Xiaofu had been possessed by something? This thought was like a bolt of lightning splitting open the fog. The more Yun Chuzhou thought about it, the more she felt that the possibility was very high. The 2 times she had extorted him, Director Xiophus' words and actions were really very different from his usual behavior. If he wasn't possessed by something, how could Director Xiaofu be so generous? Then the question came, what exactly was he possessed by? Yun Chuzhou carefully recalled Director Xiophus' words and actions, especially the 2 times he was extorted. Bloodthirsty Insect Valley? Pond? Treasure? Could it be? Yun Chuzhou's face revealed a shocked expression. No wonder Director Xiophus' face had been stale for a long time since he returned from Bloodthirst Insect Valley. No wonder he hurriedly found an excuse to leave when she used Zongzi to treat him last time. Could it be that Director Xiaofu had been possessed by the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug? The more Yun Chuzhou thought about it, the more she felt that her guess was correct. Although the cultivation of the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was not very stable, it was still equivalent to the demigod cultivation of a cultivator. How could it be killed so easily? So it was a golden cicada that had escaped its shell. It was really smart. According to the pretty boy, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was very afraid of the corpse stabilizing pearl. Therefore it must be anxious to find the corpse stabilizing pearl and destroy it. As for why the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug didn't kill her directly, it probably wasn't sure if the corpse stabilizing pearl was on her body, so it repeatedly tested her. After Yun Chujio figured out the key, her dark eyes rolled around and she smiled sinisterly. Little grasshopper, we'll see. On the other side, Deputy Director Xiaofu caught up with Lecturer Yao and the others in front. Although the swelling on Director Zaifa's face had mostly subsided, it could still be seen, especially since there was a palm print on it. Everyone could not help but be dumbfounded. Director Xiaofu had been slapped by someone? Who was so bold? Moreover, there was no one else here. Lecturer Yao tactfully did not ask about Director Xiaofu's face, but said, Director Xiaofu, have you found Yan Qingcheng's body? Also, there seemed to be a strange movement in the direction of the thunder cone tree just now. What happened? Yan Qingcheng's body has probably turned into black water. When I went there, I found nothing, but I found a dead thunder cone tree. I don't know what happened to the other thunder cone trees, but they actually escaped from the previous place and ran into the distance. Lecturer Yao, this thunder cone tree can actually move? The thunder cone trees can indeed move. Their attributes are similar to the thunder mushroom. They like places where the power of lightning is rich and moist, so they often migrate to live. It's probably the place where they originally grew. The power of lightning has been completely absorbed by them, so they chose to migrate, Lecturer Yao explained. Although what you said makes sense, why did a lightning cone tree die? Director Xiaofu asked in confusion. Lecturer Yao shook his head. I'm not sure about this. Maybe there was an unexpected situation. Nangong sure heard the conversation between the two clearly. For some reason he had a strange thought. Maybe the dead tree and the escaping lightning cone trees were all related to Yan Qingcheng. He thought about it carefully just now. Yan Qingcheng was very strange. Even if Xiao Lianxiao had plotted against her, she shouldn't have not even remembered to release her spiritual energy shield. It was more like she was deliberately attacked by the thunder cone tree. When he saw her waving her hand at him and blinking, perhaps it wasn't an illusion but real. So she really wasn't dead. Chapter 58:12. Wait for me, forget it, no matter what happens, collecting the lightning strike stone is more important, Director Xiaofu said. Everyone immediately continued to head towards the origin of the lightning strike stone. Xiao Lianxiao was in a very good mood. She had finally gotten rid of Yan Qingcheng, the stumbling block. The northern army was hers. At this moment, a clear voice came from behind. Wait for me. Everyone turned around and saw a little girl covered in blood running towards them. Yan Qingcheng? Wasn't she dead? Could it be a ghost? Xiao Lianqiao's smile froze on her face. She wasn't dead. How was this possible? She must be hallucinating. She pinched herself with all her strength and grimaced in pain, confirming the fact that Yun Chujio wasn't dead. She gnashed her teeth in hatred and asked, Yan Qingcheng, you're not dead? How are you not dead? Yun Chujio stopped in her tracks, her face full of anger. Xiao Lianxiao, from what you mean, do you wish for me to die? No wonder you pushed me. So you want me to die so that you can take over my brother Beiyu? Yes and yes? You shameless bitch, I'll fight it out with you. Hey, Xinjiao said and threw a palm at Xiao Lianxiao, but was stopped by Director Xiaofu. Director Zaifa's mood was a bit complicated. Yun Chujius not dead should be good news for him. After all, the thing that the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was looking for might be on her. Yan Qingcheng, weren't you shot by the thunder cone tree seed? How did you keep your life? Director Xiaofu stared at Yun Chujius' face and asked. At that time I felt a sharp pain and I didn't know anything. Later I felt someone lifting me up. I wanted to open my eyes but I couldn't. However, I vaguely felt that person had fed me something. It seemed to be liquid. When I regained consciousness I found that I was still lying in the same place as before. However, the thunder cone trees were all gone. There was a dead thunder cone tree. I was both shocked and scared. I followed the tracks of the grass and trees being trampled before I caught up with you guys. Oh right, Vice Director Xiaofu, at that time it was Xiao Lianxiao who pushed me. You won't favor her just because she's your niece, right? You have to give me justice. Yun Chujio glared at Xiao Lianxiao and said angrily. Vice Director Xiaofu frowned. Someone saved her? He recalled that the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect mentioned that there were other people. Could it be that there really were other people in this sinkhole? Why would that person save Yan Qingqing? At this moment, Lecturer Yao slapped his thigh and said, I know. The thing he fed. The thunder cone tree's marrow can not only detoxify the seed's poison, but it also has a very good effect on recovering from external injuries. No wonder that tree withered and died. It turned out that someone had taken the tree's marrow. The thunder cone tree's bark is extremely tough, and it can even use seeds to attack. The person who came to save you not only has a very high cultivation, but he must also have a divine weapon in his hand. This also explains why the other thunder cone trees ran away. They were afraid that their tree pith would be dug out by that person. Yun Chujio? She actually hit the nail on the head with the nonsense that came out of her mouth? Although this fellow found it funny in his heart, he showed a look of realization on his face. No wonder when I woke up, I found that the wounds caused by those seeds had almost healed. It turns out that I was fed with the tree pith. It's just that I don't know why that benefactor didn't show up. I don't even know his name. In the future, even if I want to repay his kindness, I don't know who to look for. Chapter 58:13. Ill save you. Nangong Shi, who had realized that he had seen the whole truth, pursed his lips in his heart. Don't you know whether you have a benefactor or not? He was finally sure that what he had seen before was not an illusion. Yan Qingqing had really waved her hand and winked at him. Vice Director Xiaofu believed Yun Chujia's words by 80%. He still had 2 points of suspicion, but there was no conclusive evidence to show that she was lying. He had to say, right now our primary goal is to collect the lightning strike stone. As for the dispute between you and Xiao Lianxiao, we will decide after we return to the academy. Yes, it's all up to Vice Director Xiaofu to decide, Yun Chujio said respectfully. She sneered in her heart. She knew why Vice Director Xiaofu would say that. Because he planned to take her life in the 100-Pit Mountain range, this matter would naturally be put to rest. A fool possessed by a grasshopper still wanted to scheme against her? Dream on. After this storm passed, the group continued to move forward. Although they encountered some minor problems, they still arrived at the origin of the lightning striking stones in the end. After the incident with the lightning cone tree, although there were many scattered lightning striking stones in front of them, no one dared to act rashly. Lecturer Yao released his spiritual beast. Immediately, a huge mushroom drilled out from the ground and countless myceliums swept towards the spiritual beast. At the same time, a few giant red ants with wings flew out from the ground and shot out a few black wind blades in everyone's direction. Everyone was shocked and quickly retreated to a safe distance. Lecturer Yao pointed at the mushroom and said, "This kind of spirit mushroom is called the giant thunder mushroom. Although its habits are similar to the thunder mushroom, its grade is much higher than the thunder mushroom. Those giant red ants are called thunder-swallowing poison ants. The wind blades they release are not only very sharp but also very poisonous. You guys should be more careful." After saying that, Lecturer Yao retreated to the back, indicating to the students that they could attack. The students had the experience from last time, so they immediately began to kill the giant thunder mushroom and the thunder-swallowing poison ants in groups of 3. He Xinjiao and Nangong Shi looked at each other. It seemed that no one was willing to join their group. It seemed that only the two of them could team up. What the two of them didn't expect was that there was someone who took the initiative to join their group. It was none other than Jiang Shuangli from the Beastmaster Division. Ever since the Bloodthirsty Insect Valley's trial, Jiang Shuangli and Yun Chujio didn't have much intera. However, he no longer circled around Xiao Lianxiao and focused on cultivation. Nangong Shi glanced at Yun Chujio. Seeing that she didn't object, he didn't say anything. The three of them began to kill the giant thunder mushroom. To be precise, the only ones who really contributed were Nangong Shi and Jiang Shuangli. He Xinjiao was only responsible for shouting slogans at the side. Well done. Nangong Shi put in more effort. Not bad, not bad. Jiang Shuangli, I have high hopes for you. Have you two not eaten yet? Kill them with all your might. After Nangong Shi and Jiang Shuangli finally killed a giant thunder mushroom, He Xinjiao hurriedly put it into her storage ring. Nangong Shi and Jiang Shuangli looked at each other and continued to kill the giant thunder mushroom and the thunder-devouring poison ant. After a while, He Xinjiao blinked her eyes. She couldn't return empty-handed after entering the treasure mountain. She had to think of a way to release Xiao Mogu to absorb the power of lightning. However, she had to be injured before that so that she could sit on the ground and absorb the power of lightning openly. At this moment, A thunder-swallowing poison ant suddenly approached and shot several black poisonous blades at Jiang Shuangli's back. Yun Chujia's eyes immediately lit up and she shouted, "Jiang Shuangli, I'm here to save you." Chapter 58:14 Because we are teammates, He Xinjiu said as she rushed over at lightning speed, blocking Jiang Shuangli behind her. The black poisonous blades shot out by the thunder-swallowing poison ant all landed on Yun Chujia's body. Jiang Shuangli was shocked and quickly turned his head to repel the thunder-swallowing poison ant. Nangong Shi quickly carried Yun Chujio to the outer area and took out the detoxifying and bleeding-stopping pills to feed her. Jiang Shuangli looked at He Xinjiu, who was covered in blood and barely breathing, and his heart was in turmoil. He really could not understand why Yan Qingqing would risk her life to save him. Shouldn't she be annoyed with him? After all, he had targeted her countless times because he wanted to please Xiao Yanxiao. Why would she do that? At this time, Yun Chujio opened her eyes and looked at Jiang Shuangli. The corner of her mouth revealed a relieved smile and she said with difficulty, "It's good that you're okay. I'm finally not injured in vain." "What? Why did you save me?" Jiang Shuangli mumbled. He knew that he should not ask this question at this time, but he really could not understand why Yan Qingqing would do this. Yun Chujio said weakly, "There aren't that many. There are so many whys because we're teammates. Since we're teammates, we must support each other and share life and death together. Otherwise, how can we trust each other with our backs?" Jiang Shuangli was shocked. Teammates? Just because they were teammates, Yan Qingqing could protect them with her life? Nangong Shi looked at the shocked Jiang Shuangli and then looked at Yun Chujio. Why did he always feel that Yan Qingqing was lying? Nangong Shi shook his head and self-deprecated. How could he think of Yan Qingqing that way? She had really blocked the poisonous blade for Jiang Shuangli, and her body was almost shot into a beehive. How could she be lying? He really judged a gentleman by his petty heart. At this moment, Jiang Shuangli cupped his fists at Yun Chujio and said solemnly, "Yan Qingqing, I will remember your kindness for saving my life. I will definitely repay you in the future." He Xinjiu said that she didn't need it, but in her heart she was overjoyed. Her injury was really worth it. She could absorb the power of the lightning underground and make Jiang Shuangli owe her a favor. Moreover, she could increase the power of the lightning by a little bit. It was like killing multiple birds with one stone. She said with great effort, "This is what I should do. I'm fine. It's probably because the tree marrow I took earlier has detoxification effects. So, you don't have to worry about me. Go on. Continue to participate in the battle." Nangong Shi and Jiang Shuangli saw that her complexion had already recovered some color. Moreover, there was also Vice Director Xiaofu and Lecturer Yao overseeing the battle. There shouldn't be any problems, so the two of them rejoined the battle. He Xinjiu, on the other hand, used the cover of her sleeve to release Xiao Mogu and began to happily absorb the power of the lightning. While Vice Director Xiaofu was paying attention to the battle, he occasionally glanced at Yun Chujio. He was also very puzzled. This stinky girl had always been shrewd. How could she risk her life to save Jiang Shuangli? Could it be that she had fallen in love with Jiang Shuangli again? But it didn't seem like it. Could it be that she wanted to rope Jiang Shuangli in? This stinky girl had a good plan. Whether it was Nangong Shi or Jiang Shuangli, both of their family backgrounds were extraordinary. Naturally, they were very useful to her. However, she was destined to have nothing. This 100 Pits mountain range was her burial ground. He just needed to find an opportunity to kill her quietly, and then he would be able to get her storage ring. It didn't matter whether there was anything in it that the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect wanted. Chapter 58:15 The little grasshopper He Xinjiu quietly absorbed all the lightning energy underground. If not for the fact that she was afraid of being exposed, this guy would have absorbed all the lightning stones as well. This guy had nothing to do. He glanced at Director Xiaofu and almost laughed out loud when he saw the palm print on his face that had not completely disappeared. Presumably, this palm print was caused by that grasshopper. Speaking of which, not only did that grasshopper give her spirit stones and lightning strike stones, but it also helped her vent her anger. It was not that annoying. When she saw that Lecturer Yao saw that a student had joined the battle in danger, she cried out with a wicked heart, Director Xiaofu, I didn't notice it before, but now I realize that there are 2 palm prints on your face. Who has the audacity to hit you? TSK, as the saying goes, hitting someone doesn't mean hitting their face. This person is deliberately humiliating you. Tell me who that person is. When my injury is healed, I will take revenge for you. Cut him into 1,000 pieces, chop him up and feed him to the dogs. Director Xaiaphas' nose was almost crooked from anger. He hated the instigator again, that damn grasshopper, and also hated Yun Chujio for not knowing what was good for her. With a gloomy face he said, "This matter has nothing to do with you. You should recuperate properly. Don't drag everyone down." Deputy Director Xiaofu, how could this matter have nothing to do with me? I heard that you went back to look for my corpse and that's why you were slapped twice. This is all because of me. I never knew that you were so good to me and even went back to look for my corpse. Speaking of which, you've been so kind to me these days. You've given me this and that again. I'm so flattered, Hei Xinjiu said with a touched look. When Deputy Director Xiaofu heard her words, he immediately remembered the spirit stones and lightning stones that were given out by the dead grasshopper. He almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Hei Xinjiu looked at Deputy Director Xaiaphas' distorted expression and became more certain of her judgment. If he had given it to her himself, why would he react so violently? Director Xiaofu, why do I feel that you don't look well after coming back from the bloodthirsty insect valley? Why do I feel that you're a little pale? Could it be? Yun Chujio looked at Director Xiaofu meaningfully. Director Xiaofu suddenly clenched his hands in his sleeves. Could it be that this stupid girl had seen through something? If she really saw through it, he had to kill her on the spot. Could it be that you used up too much of your spiritual power during the last battle? This won't do. You have to recuperate properly, Yun Chujio said with concern. Director Xaiaphas' hand slowly loosened. It turned out that this wretched girl had not found anything strange. However, it was also true. If he was not the person involved, he would not have thought that the damned grasshopper would possess him. Oh right, Director Xiaofu, didn't you ask me if I picked up something in the bloodthirsty insect valley last time? I remembered later that I really did pick up something, Yun Chujio said mysteriously. Director Xaiaphas' face immediately revealed an anxious expression. Unfortunately, before he could ask, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect could not wait to possess him. What is it? Quickly take it out and let me see. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect said anxiously. Yun Chujio's heart moved. That strange feeling came again. Could it be that Director Xiaofu was that little grasshopper that gave away money? Oh, my wound hurts so much. It's a pity that I don't have any good pills. Otherwise it wouldn't hurt so much. It hurts so much. I can't remember anything. Hei Xinjiu forced out a face full of cold sweat and said sobbingly. Chapter 58:16, Little Rock seeing the situation, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug was so anxious that it was twitching. It transferred all the pills in Director Xaiaphas' storage ring to Hei Xinjiu. I have a lot of high-quality pills here. Pick a few and swallow them. Hei Xinjiu looked at the bottles of pills in her storage ring and was even more certain that the Director Xaiafu in front of her was the little grasshopper who was a money spinner. She waited in her heart. If she exposed it, what would her chances of winning be? The grasshopper's cultivation was comparable to that of a divinity transformation stage cultivator, and he was wearing Director Xaiaphas' skin. If they really fought, she might not be able to gain any advantage. She had to take things slowly. Thinking of this, she took out a few pills and stuffed them into her mouth. Then she said gratefully, Director Xiaofu, you are truly an exemplary teacher. How could you give me so many pills? The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug didn't want to listen to this nonsense at all. It couldn't wait to ask, what did you pick up in the bloodthirsty insect valley? I picked up a small stone. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug frowned. A small stone? However, it was understandable that this stinky girl didn't know her mistake and treated the corpse stabilizing pearl as a small stone. So she said, oh? Take it out and let me take a look. In case there's something wrong with the thing you picked up. Yun Chujio nodded her head gratefully and took out a small round stone from her storage ring. Yes, it was the real kind of pebble. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug barely resisted the urge to strangle Yun Chujio. It gritted its teeth and asked, is this what you picked up? Why did you pick up such a useless stone? Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Because, it looks good. I used to be very poor, so I liked to pick up stones to pretend that I had many gemstones. Yun Chujio revealed a disappointed expression when she said this. She was telling the truth. In her previous life she was just a little beggar. She was envious when she saw other little girls wearing beautiful necklaces, but she couldn't even eat her fill. How could there be any jewelry? Therefore she ran to the riverside and picked up many pebbles, pretending that she also had many gemstones. Perhaps she was afraid of being poor and afraid of being hungry. Therefore, even if she didn't lack money now, it was still difficult for her to change her character as a money grubber and a glutton. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug originally thought that Yun Chujio was playing with it. However, when it saw the expression on her face, it didn't seem like she was faking it. Could it be that this stinky girl really didn't pick up the corpse stabilizing pearl? No, back then she was the only one who had the chance to pick up the corpse stabilizing pearl. She must have been lying to it. This stinky girl was really crafty. She probably couldn't get anything out of her, so she might as well just kill it. Anyway, even if it killed someone, that idiot would think of a way to clean up the aftermath. Yun Chujio saw the flash of killing intent in its eyes, and her heart immediately jumped. This damn grasshopper. She was going to let it prance around for a few days, but it wanted to court its own death. Since this dead grasshopper wanted to kill her regardless of whether she had the corpse stabilizing pearl or not, she might as well try the power of the corpse stabilizing pearl. Therefore, she immediately held the corpse stabilizing pearl in her storage ring. Almost at that moment, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor insect screamed and jumped into the distance. It was too panicked and did not even look in the direction. It crashed into the stone wall and fainted with a choking sound. Hei Xinjiu was about to kill it, but Lecturer Yao had already seen the situation and exclaimed, "Vice-Chancellor Xiao." Chapter 58:17 Killing intent. As Lecturer Yao spoke, he had already leaped over. Hei Xinjiu had no choice but to give up on the idea of killing people and killing insects. At this time, the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug had already returned the control of its body to Director Xiaofu. Director Xiaofu felt a sharp pain on his forehead and was already dumbfounded. What did that damn grasshopper do now? The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug's excited voice came from his spiritual sense. The corpse stabilizing pearl is on that stinky girl. Kill her. Quickly kill her. Destroy the corpse stabilizing pearl. Corpse stabilizing pearl? Director Xiaofu had never heard of the corpse stabilizing pearl. However, since the dead grasshopper had not killed Yan Qingqing and had even crashed into the stone wall, it must be very afraid of the corpse stabilizing pearl. If he thought of a way to kill Yan Qingqing and obtain the corpse stabilizing pearl, this damned grasshopper would no longer be a threat to him. Don't be impatient. There are too many people here. When I find the right opportunity, I will naturally kill Yan Qingqing and destroy the corpse stabilizing pearl, Director Xiaofu comforted. Although the 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug wished that Director Xiaofu could kill Yun Chujio immediately, it was afraid of the corpse stabilizing pearl and could only place its hopes on Director Xiaofu. At this moment, Lecturer Yao asked with concern, "Director Xiaofu, are you all right? Why did you bump into the stone wall?" He felt that Director Xiaofu was not right. Previously, two palm prints had appeared on his face out of nowhere, and now he was banging against the stone wall. Had he lost his mind? Director Xiaofu's eyes flashed and he looked at Yun Chujio unkindly. "Yan Qingqing, I was kind enough to check on your injuries. Why did you push?" Lecturer Yao immediately came to a realization. He had been wondering why Director Xiaofu had crashed into the stone wall for no reason. It turned out that Yan Qingqing had pushed him when he was caught off guard. This Yan Qingqing really did not know what was good for her. She was audacious. Yun Chujio showed a shocked expression and said with a bitter smile, "Director Xiaofu, even if you want to frame me, you have to find a reliable reason. I have suffered such a serious injury, and my cultivation level is much lower than yours. How could I push you so hard? Moreover, I am not a fool. Why would I push you for no reason? I saw that you have not been looking well recently. Moreover, your words and actions are always inexplicable. Could it be that you have been possessed by some unclean thing? 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug. Why?" Lecturer Yao looked suspiciously at Director Xiaofu. What Yan Qingqing said made sense. She was also a fool. There was no need for her to push Director Xiaofu in front of everyone. Moreover, there was indeed something wrong with Director Xiaofu recently. Putting everything else aside, what was with the two palm prints on his face? Director Xiaofu's heart tightened. Could it be that Yan Qingqing already knew that he had been possessed by a dead grasshopper? Director Xiaofu was both afraid and hateful. He had originally wanted to find a suitable opportunity to kill this wretched girl, but now it seemed that he had to end the battle quickly. This wretched girl could not be left alive. Thinking of this, he said stiffly, "Perhaps I am not in good spirits, so I saw wrongly. Forget it, I have nothing to do anyway. Just treat it as if I bumped into myself." Although Lecturer Yao was very suspicious, he had always followed Deputy Director Xiaofu's lead. so he did not continue to ask. Yun Chujio was very smart, so she immediately understood Deputy Director Zaifa's plan. She sneered in her heart. She was only afraid of that grasshopper. Now that she knew that Grasshopper was very afraid of the fixed corpse pearl, she had nothing to be afraid of. Since Vice Director Xiaofu wanted to die, then she would fulfill his wish. Chapter 58:18. I'm really sorry. 2 hours later, the students finished killing the giant thunder mushroom and the thunder-swallowing poison ants and began to search for the lightning strike stone. Hei Xinjiu stretched her neck and shouted, "Nangong Shi Jiang Shuangli, come and help me up. I want to do my part too. I want to search for the lightning strike stone." Nangong Shi and Jiang Shuangli were speechless. What kind of person are you? And you are such a money grubber? However, the two of them still came over to help Hei Xinjiu up and carried her to the site of the lightning strike stone. Come. I will be in charge of commanding, and the two of you will be in charge of digging. We will split the lightning strike stone equally among the three of us. You won't disagree with such a fair method, right? Hei Xinjiu said shamelessly. Nangong Shi. Jiang Shuangli. Fair. Even so, the two of them still followed Hei Xinjiu's instructions and started digging the lightning stones. Perhaps they were too lucky, but they were able to dig out a nest of lightning stones every time. Their efficiency was much higher than the others. Ah, you see that? It's all because of my good command that you were able to find so many lightning stones, Hei Xinjiu said smugly. The reason why she was able to command was very simple. Xiao Mogu had already told her where the lightning stones were more concentrated, so she was naturally more efficient than the others. Soon, the students gathered all the lightning stones and returned the way they came. After walking for 2 hours, the sky gradually turned dark. After discussing with Lecturer Yao, Deputy Director Xiaofu decided to camp at the same place and continue on their journey the next morning. The students were also extremely tired and naturally couldn't wait. They immediately began to busy themselves with setting up camp. Director Xiaofu looked at Hei Xinjiu, who was chatting with Nangong Shi and Jiang Shuangli. His heart was filled with killing intent. This damn brat. She actually deceived all of his medicinal pills. That dead grasshopper was simply a pig's brain. However, it didn't matter. Tomorrow would be the day of her death. The night passed without a word. The next morning, everyone continued on their journey. At noon they arrived at the bottom of the rope. Line up and go up in order. Yan Qingqing, you're injured. Stay at the back. I'll protect you when you climb up so that you won't be in danger, Deputy Director Xiaofu said solemnly. Okay, I got it. Thank you, Deputy Director Xiaofu. Hei Xinjiu sneered in her heart. Was it time to make a move? Good, very good. Nangong Shi glanced at Yun Chujio worriedly. Even Jiang Shuangli cast a questioning gaze at her. However, seeing that Yun Chujio did not seem to care at all, the two of them did not ask any further questions. Everyone climbed up the rope one by one. In the end, only Vice Director Xiaofu and Hei Xinjiu were left. Vice Director Xiaofu pointed at the rope. Yan Qingqing, what are you still standing there for? Hurry up and climb up. Hei Xinjiu followed his advice and climbed up the rope. Director Zaifa's eyes flashed with viciousness as he followed closely behind her. He made up his mind. Halfway up the rope, he only needed to give a slight tug and Yan Qingqing would fall to her death. When that time came, he would get the fixed corpse pearl and he would be able to take care of that dead grasshopper. Soon, the two of them were about half a distance away from the rope. Director Zaifa's pupils constricted as he reached out his hand to pull Yun Chujio's right foot. However, he did not expect Yun Chujio to kick down so hard that it almost broke Director Xiaofu's hand. Director Xiaofu, did I kick you? I'm really sorry. But why are you so close to me? Hei Xinjiu turned her head and said with a smile. Director Xiaofu was so angry that he gritted his teeth. He did not bother to cover up and directly slapped Yun Chujio. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.